I think I froze up.
No.
Hello, everybody. My name is Lewis Lee, and I was froze. This is Playing in Traffic, and as you know, we all do this every Thursday night, 9 o'clock Eastern time. So tell all your friends, family, and people you don't like, tell them to come check us out. We talk about cars, boats, trucks, and anything you put gas in.
Motorcycles, lawnmowers, washing machines, any involvements, good involvement, teens, queens, guys in blue jeans, bring them all. We'll talk to anybody.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right?
Yes, sir. What's going on, Ray?
Lewis, that's how we do it. You know, it's the interactions are great. We love talking with people, and between here and the radio show, we get quite a good cast of characters. Between us. I got to say, we made some history now, revisited history again this week with Motormouth Radio. We were able to figure out how to use our Zoom calls and record them, how to video them. I mean, that doesn't sound like a big deal, but then we wanted to put them up on social media. So we have our Mark Warman interview from a couple weeks ago up on the Facebook page.
Oh, nice.
On Motormouth Radio Facebook page. So go check that out and follow us. And I'm gonna see. I want to put it up on our YouTube page. We have two YouTube pages, Motormouth Radio and Motormouth Video. So we'll put it up on one of them, and this way we can share the guests with the masses.
Nice. Are you going to dip into a podcast too?
We've always been talking about that for future use. Yeah, it's. I tell you though, after doing that show on a Sunday and then doing this soiree all of Thursday night, I almost run out of stuff to talk about. We covered all, man.
Well, what I was saying is maybe take your show and put it onto the podcast.
Okay, well, in that regard, it is a podcast because as soon as it's over live, it goes up on iHeartRadio, it goes on Spreaker. We put it up on our website as a podcast. So I thought you meant an additional one. Those shows do go up and become podcasts. It goes on Performance Motorsports Network. That guy over there in PA, he rebroadcasts it a couple times during the week. Yeah. So, cool. The cool thing is, and we talk about it, Chris and I talk about it, how this format is cool because it's live to video. And that's what I'd like to have happen with the radio show. I'd like to be able to take that Zoom call and have it go live to either Facebook or YouTube. But so far, we haven't been able to figure out how to do that. We may not do it.
Well, why don't you have a separate camera?
That's a possibility. The only problem is, and I don't want to sound like I'm really complaining here, when I come in, I have a guy who does a show before me, and then there's a girl who does a show right after me. So when you transition between live shows, you have a couple of spots that you play. You have to play a legal ID. It's no more than just a couple of minutes of content. So whatever you do to switch over has to happen fast.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
And sometimes there's problems. Like the guy before me doesn't bring up on the board the stuff that I need to play. And I got and he's playing something and he walks away and I'm like, okay, did he put something up that's going for 3 minutes or is it 30 seconds? Because now I got to get my stuff up and get it in order.
Yeah.
I got to remember to hit record on the now I got to remember to hit record on the Zoom thing and, check all the levels, make sure everything is where I want it. It's like a frantic start and he's not consistent. Sometimes he'll have everything up for me and I just walk in and it's easy peasy.
Yeah, I know how that goes. When we were doing the bus build and I had Stacy David call in, I forgot to hit the record button.
Right.
So we did the whole thing, talked and everything, and then when Kevin Tetz came on, I'm looking at him like, oh man, I forgot to hit the record.
The good thing is my co-host Chris, he's been a radio guy for years. He actually got paid. He's a pro radio guy. And we were talking about this. And I said, there's going to be a day that I'm going to screw up. I said, because with all the stuff I have to do, every new thing you add, you got to remember. And, it's not so easy for me to remember all the time. So, and he says, oh, I get it. I know. And there's no way he can even back me up on it. I got to do it.
Yep.
So, yeah, there's the ability to look like a jerk.
Real quick.
And we do it pretty good.
I hear you. All right, let's get the fellas in and talk about some stuff.
Yep.
Hey guys, how you doing? What's going on?
Hey,
Brian.
Mr. Paul.
Hello.
Paul. Ow.
How's everyone tonight?
Oh, better than we
Hang in,
deserve.
hang in there.
So how's the weather down there, Paul? I see you guys got some snow.
I did not get snow. I'm still above the freezing mark. However, there was ice and frost on the car this morning. I was like, damn, I left the ice scraper in Maryland.
Oh, good. I'm glad you got a little bit of it.
But no, we've had some chilly weather down here. I think it went into the mid 40s today. Saturday it's going to be 61. Sunday it's going to be like 65. But we're going to have rain for the next 7 or 10 days.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on, man. This weather's going goofy.
But that's okay. I get rain. Any of my rain that leaves here and goes north becomes snow and ice.
Yeah, sure does. What's up, Tyler?
What's up? I'm going to be in and out for like the next 10 minutes because I'm just finishing up cooking my dinner.
Hey,
What are we having? We might as well get the big guy hungry. Go ahead, start.
Oh, it's just some bacon bits that I fried up, and then I sauteed some onions in the grease, and then right now I'm frying some Brussels sprouts in the
Oh, you
leftover
just
as
made
well.
me sick.
Man,
You know,
that's awesome. Brussels sprouts.
I'll
Yeah,
tell
Brussels
you
sprouts are
something, Tyler. I'll tell you something. My wife has been making Brussels sprouts for years, and we hate them. We hate them. She found a recipe where you fry them up in the pan with some oil, and you put bacon bits in them. Boom, game changer. I love them. I love them.
Yep. So I cook them for like 20 minutes with the lid on low heat, and that steams the moisture out and softens them. And then I crank the heat up with the lid off and fry them up so they got like a crunchy outside.
She'll do the same thing. She'll cook them up so they're kind of blackened, which I like them.
Yep.
Now, I got to tell you, we were in this food store today, and it's one particular store, Stu Leonard's. They have Brussels sprouts that are the size of like golf balls.
Can we get back to talking about cars before I get sick?
Well, this is about heart health. Paul.
Yeah,
We're
Paul
trying to
doesn't
keep-
like vegetables.
I know. We're trying to keep people healthy, and vegetables is the way to do it. You got to eat your
Paul.
greens.
Paul, you can cook it with Coke in it. Put Coca-Cola in it.
Heineken doesn't count as a green
care.
vegetable.
Actually, I've done that, Lewis, with my Brussels sprouts and a few other things.
All right.
Yeah, well, so I cook at the shop all the time, and you forget to wash your hands sometimes. So you go and you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna taste test that," and then like, "Oh, that's kind of like motor oil."
That's 90 weight. Yeah.
Yeah.
You ingest that stuff all during the day. You might as well get a little while you eat too.
It won't kill you. It hasn't
I'm
killed
okay.
me
I'm
yet.
okay as long as it's not antifreeze because I cannot stand antifreeze.
It's
Antifreeze.
Oh, brake
is
fluid's
nasty.
my thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man, that
it's
stuff
good.
antifreeze is like anti-seize. It gets all on your mustache, your beard. You got it all over the place. You got slick back eyebrow because it's all glazed over, and you look like some evil person. It's terrible, dude.
So here you go. I have a mechanic and food related question for you guys. Now, every mechanic on the planet that I've ever met or talked to, you got your hands greasy, dirty, whatever, and the pizza shows up. You don't wash your hands. You just dive right in. You grab a slice and you chow down. But as soon as you're done eating that piece of greasy pizza, what do? You go,
Wash your hands.
I got to go wash my hands.
Good point.
Well,
Good
not always, because if the pizza's greasy enough, your hands are actually cleaner when you stop eating than when you started.
Well, that's fried chicken.
Yeah, but it's
Same
Fried
thing.
chicken.
the food grease is on your fingers and you got to wash it off.
Yeah, just wipe it on your pants. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
that's cool. Good stuff.
That's awesome.
So, Brian, did Isaac send you the picture last week of what he did after the Thursday
Yes.
night? All right.
Yes.
For you guys that had to go to bed early, we always end up talking about food in like the midnight hour, and we were talking about hot dogs because I'd been at Nathan's, and Isaac didn't know what Nathan's was.
Oh, wait a second. How did he not know what Nathan's hot dogs were?
He's from
He's on the
Arizona.
wrong side of the universe.
He's
Yeah,
born and
Arizona.
raised in Arizona.
Where you are on this planet, they can get Nathan's hot dogs in Europe, in Asia, down in New Zealand.
They got them at the dollar store.
Hey,
Well, I'll tell
Sheriff,
you,
can we get
the
Nathan's hot dogs at the dollar store?
Yep, Dollar General.
the stuff that he's
He
Brian, you
said
got the
Dollar
picture
General.
handy
Look
on
next
your
time,
phone?
please.
Huh?
You have that picture handy? Well, Isaac sent me a picture, sent Brian a picture the next day of what he had after we were done after midnight last Thursday. He made his own version of these Sonora hot dogs. There's like green chilies in them and cheese, and they drizzle it with mayonnaise. Like, what the hell? Move it over to your left. Yeah, let's see. Yeah,
They got
that's what he
glare
did
out.
after the show last week.
I don't look bad.
No, I mean that's
Well, the funny thing is, me and Isaac started texting afterwards the show.
okay.
So I went up and I was saying, I'm going to have myself a Carolina dog.
All right.
And I went up, and of course, I started making up some coleslaw, and I
What's in
got
the
the chili.
Carolina dog.
Huh?
Define what's in the Carolina dog.
Carolina dog is a hot dog, and you have onions, chili, and coleslaw
Okay.
on top of it. So I'm making up a little bit of coleslaw, started heating up some chili, and chopped up onion, and I didn't have any hot dogs.
Ah!
I didn't even look. I didn't even look for the beginning of the thing.
You just
So
knew,
I was like, "Damn it!" And then I
No
was
Jimmy
like,
Dean sausages in the freezer.
huh? I didn't have anything.
7-Eleven, buy 2 7-Eleven Death Dogs.
Right.
Well, I thought about it, but I mean, ever since we got the wife put in a couple extra Ring cameras, it's hard for me to sneak out. You know what I'm saying? So
you gotta call Uber Eats.
yeah, so I was like, damn it. And then all of a sudden, Coach sends me these pictures, and I was like, oh, that's nice. And I was like, too bad I'm having my blueberry bagel with cream cheese. And I didn't send him a picture. I was like, this is no, I can't even have this picture. I can't even compete on this one.
Isaac, you made the roster early, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, my ears were burning.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
something.
I tell you, I was like, I said Isaac was lucky that there's only 3 hours difference, because if we had time, I'd show him some dogs. You know what I'm saying? I'd fire up the old grill and really start cooking out there at 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, now for us that was after midnight. For Isaac, it was still like a fairly decent hour.
9 o'clock. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
It was 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, we did get done a little late. Yeah, it was 3 hours and change. So that's what goes on when everybody else is asleep. Just so you know.
Yeah.
Now,
Other hijinks.
I'm an hour behind you, so it makes it a little bit easier on me.
Oh,
But
okay.
on Friday mornings is one of the mornings I have to get up at 4 a.m.
Wow.
Drive. I don't want to say to the other end of the state, because that's a total exaggeration.
Can't do
But
that.
it's quite a distance to drive to work on Friday mornings down to Wiley, Texas. But it's going fair. It's a good paycheck. It's a good paycheck.
That's
We know who to borrow some off of.
right.
It's
Well,
August.
you're in the never-ending state.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Well-
drive for 2 days and never leave the state.
Yeah.
I know Texas is huge. I tell you this, I've never driven across Texas. I have driven across Nebraska though, and it seemed like it was never going to freaking end.
Yeah, Texas. I drove across it. It ain't no joke.
Yeah, it's
Florida's the same
2
way,
days.
going long wise.
Right.
You never think, the only good thing about Florida is that at least you fall into the water.
Yeah.
If you go too far, you fall into the water. But
You see a string bikini, you hit the bottom, right?
yeah, that's
I drove across Florida from Pensacola to just north of Miami to get a hood one time.
oh my
And
god,
Oh man, and I told the guy, I was like, yeah, I can meet you around lunchtime. And I'm like, how far could it be? It's in Florida. And then this was before GPS on your phone, so I looked up the old MapQuest directions, and here it was like 9.5 hours away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a pretty good distance.
Wow.
yeah.
So, Paul, what are you working on? What's hot in your garage?
In my personal garage.
No, at work.
Oh, okay. At work, I'm on because I'm working out of both locations now. I'm working both at Iron Horse and at Vintage Iron, Texas, or Texas Vintage Iron, whatever he calls himself.
Mhm.
Today I was at Vintage Iron, and was on a 37 Chevrolet street rod that was done in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s.
So it's pastel.
It's gray primer now. It used to be a really nice red paint job, but it got driven hard for many years. It's been an accident, and it's traded hands, and now it's time to be corrected and put back into good, above rat rod level, but not at that billet 80s.
You know, we
Street
talked about this a couple of weeks ago. The 37 is a beautiful car that you don't see a lot of.
This is a 37 four-door sedan.
Oh, okay, so it's got a longer roof.
And
does it have a TPI engine in it?
No, it has a. Well, I guess it's still considered a tune port. It is the early 90s through the late 90s Chevrolet LT engine with the Park.
Yeah, the LT1. Okay, all right. So it's so that car had a new motor in its day.
In its day, like I said, in the day that this car was built, and it was built very, very nice for the time frame and the components that they had available. Really, really nice done job, but driven hard for many years. Wrecked at some point, and maintenanced by many different. You can actually see the history of the maintenance and who was working on the car, who had some really good talents.
Isn't that amazing? You can see the DNA of who touched it. I go through that with the cars I work on a lot.
Yes, you can see it in the car. And you can also see where some issues were in the very beginning that were not corrected.
Okay.
During the initial build of the car. And now I have the opportunity to correct some of that stuff. So it's being corrected.
How is it set up, transmission and rear end wise? What's the powertrain?
The rear end apparently is from a S10.
Okay.
It is the small ring gear 10 bolt.
Right.
And the transmission is the 700 the 700 that was behind that LT.
So that car was built as a cruiser. It was built just as a mild cruiser.
It was built as a good driver. You could again, it's a four-door sedan.
Right.
And the interior in it is ideal to call a family. The car was set up to actually have passengers in and go for road trips.
Does it have one of those tweed looking interiors in it that they used back then?
I don't remember, to tell you the truth, because I don't have much time looking at the interior.
Yeah. You know, I'll tell you something. I'm working on this Corvette, and the shop owner even asked me like 6 or 8 questions. Does it have this? Did you see? And I'm like, listen, I didn't look at anything except what was broke. I looked at exactly what the first problem was I had to fix. I didn't even look at the rest of the car. So I know what you mean.
Yeah. No, the door panels though are those door panels of that time frame that are the pressed plastic with the outline of a set of flames in them.
Yep.
They were very popular. They were being sold at all kinds of car shows throughout the country at that time. Anybody could pick them up relatively cheap.
Right.
And then it was up to you to have the upholstery work done over top of them. So yeah, after 30 years, that upholstery is starting to give.
Yeah.
But whoever did it did a really nice job.
That's good. That sounds like it's gonna be a nice car.
It's going to be a nice car. And then at Iron Horse Classics, I'll go back there tomorrow morning. I'm on a 95, 96. It's right in that borderline time frame of a GMC Jimmy.
Oh.
Now, this GMC Jimmy, in the mid-'80s, you could get a Chevrolet Blazer in two-wheel drive, but I don't think you could get a Jimmy in two-wheel drive. This Jimmy now has an LS motor in it and has been done over as a two-wheel drive. It's sitting on coilovers and it's sitting low. It presents very well.
Sounds like Terry touched it.
Terry.
Yeah.
That's a nice looking vehicle. Those look good.
The LS has got.
Terry touched it. It would have an LS in it.
Well, it does. It does have an LS. Yeah.
Does have a,
Oh, I missed that part.
It has an LS in it. I don't touch the LS. It has nothing to do with me. That work is already done. I had some negative things. I had some positive things to say about it.
Yeah.
It was
There's a lot.
basically-
So the LS swaps have become so common and popular that people who have no business doing swaps are touching them.
Right.
I have a car here right now that is that way. Every time I fix one thing, I uncover 3 more things that really need addressed. Perfect example. So when they did the LS swap, they found that they had a conflict between the brake booster and the corner of the valve cover because of the coil, the ignition coil. So they moved the entire master cylinder up about an inch and a half.
Why didn't they move
And
the?
if listen, I don't know, but what I found was
It'd
even
be
though
easier.
the car drove fine with 4-wheel drum, but then I converted it to 4-wheel disc, and after I bled the brakes, I couldn't get any stopping power driving the car around. I was like, man, this
You
is
got
really
the wrong
weird.
angle on
So
the pedal now.
Yeah, so the push rod was doing this
Right.
instead of pushing straight in, and the geometry was all wrong. I didn't have enough travel in the master to it was
Right.
yeah. So when they moved the master and the booster up, they obviously you only have a small hole in the firewall for the push rod.
Oh,
So what did
no.
they do? They canopered it
Yep.
and just peeled the firewall up. So now there's this big jagged hole. And so all I did to fix it was get the correct brackets and move it back down, and everything works fine now. It's just
And did you relocate the coil?
yeah. I just moved the coil over.
Right.
Literally, all I had to do was get the longer coil wire and move the coil up further away from the bottom edge of the valve
simplest
cover.
Oh, hold on here. You had to get a longer coil wire. Oh, now actually, then no. Move the master cylinder.
Yeah. It was one of the extras I had on the shelf. It's the truck length wire, which is 12 inches instead of 9. Because why?
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. I got a shop that has a Impala. I think it's an Impala SS, like 96 or whatever. That when they were popular.
the cool reintroduction of the Impala.
Yeah.
That
So,
had,
The one
this
that Ray's
guy-
gonna send over to me.
they have LT1 motors in them. That was
this guy's putting the LS with twin turbos and the whole 9 yards, and so they were in the middle. Of course, now because of how like the master cylinder is, and then they have the ABS unit that sticks out this far.
Yeah,
and of course
off the master there.
Yeah, but it's like a foot like hanging out in the engine bay, But that's where the turbos are supposed to go. And the guy was like, well, I'm taking it to the shop and they're putting these turbos. I mean, they're putting it all in, but you got to finish, just bleed the brakes. And the guy's like, dude, they're going to have to move all this. And he goes, oh, no, they're going to work around it. And I'm just like, I can only wait to see what this looks like when it comes back, I was like, okay, we'll bleed the brake because they put 4-wheel disc, well wheels, and the whole 9 yards on it.
Yeah, the other thing is nice hot turbo lines near brake lines. That's always a good mix.
I like that. That's good. It makes braking more exciting.
Yeah.
They're going to have a brake issue. You will have a brake issue. I'm not going to say it can't be done because it can be done. But you're going to have a brake issue if you convert the drum to disc on the rear of those things and try to retain that AC Delco anti-lock system that we just described.
Yep.
Not saying it won't work, but I'm saying you're going to have issues and braking problems because that system can't recognize the fact that you have a caliper back there now instead of a wheel cylinder.
Yeah, well, you have to
the
move
guy
a totally
I've
different amount
already-
of fluid.
The guy actually, I meant to stop by. I don't know. Tomorrow's Friday. Maybe I'll swing by and see. But he was already talking about he was having problems trying to get a good pedal.
He won't.
And of course, that's the problem when you get into that stuff.
if you
Start.
see him and you want to give the suggestion, what you can say to him is, don't disable the system, but bypass the system with just some loop and some ferrules that you got laying around the shop. Bypass all that ABS system and go straight from the master to the rear, and all of a sudden his brake pedal improves. It gives him the direction that he has to go to correct it.
Yep.
It'd be a little labor.
Yeah, I would just delete that whole ABS system
well,
and then take the bulb out of the dash for the ABS light.
you can and you can't, because
You can.
that system. Well, you're changing to LT, so it does, or you're taking the LT out and you're putting.
Yeah, so you're not going to have factory traction control anyway, and none of that stuff.
So
Yeah.
okay, then yes,
Yep.
that if he wants anti-lock brakes, he uses an anti-lock system from a vehicle that also had the LS.
Yeah.
Updated.
Yeah,
Yep.
a lot of times guys will do. The other problems they'll do is they'll leave the stock combo valve in the car, and they won't change the master for 4-wheel disc. It's it's a different piston size, different bore.
Yep.
And you got to go back and.
Now, Ray, we've talked about this before. Those little numbers don't mean much. Those are just fractions of an inch.
That's
They
right.
don't mean much.
Just fractions of an inch. What's a decimal
Fractions
point,
of an
right?
inch, but a considerable amount of percentage.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I mean, come on. We don't. The fraction is like that. That's a
You can't-
small.
Well, wait a minute. You know,
Got it.
even Ray will break me up on this. Chevrolet didn't even change the proportioning valve in the Impalas when they went to a disc brake rear. They left the drum brake proportioning valve in, and the Impala guys had to come up with a fix for it, where they modified a bolt. Right? They put an extra hole in there so to put more fluid to the back because of the calipers.
In the master, yeah, they changed the bias, right, with the valve, yeah.
Yeah, even Chevrolet was too
Right.
lazy to do it.
Yeah. Well, fractions. It's okay.
No.
Yeah. Well, that was way before the crash ratings were so strict.
Yeah.
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 Now that I live in Texas, on Monday, because I work in Wiley, at lunchtime I said, well, let's go see how far away Summit is, and I drove down to Summit,
Oh yeah, I've
I
seen
saw
that.
that on Facebook.
and I didn't go back to work on Monday. By the time I left Summit, I just came straight home. That was pretty impressive on their showroom and looking around.
Yeah, they got a lot of toys to play with.
And the way the service was and the knowledge of the people behind the counter, I was very impressed.
Hmm. That's what Brian was saying, that everybody in his team that he works with, they're all car people and do it for the love. Yep.
The only thing I was disappointed about was apparently on Mondays, the scratch and dent sale department is closed.
Oh.
So I wasn't able to go see the scratch and dent sale department. I just, I had my wife's credit card, so it could have gone good or bad.
Could have went. Yeah, that was
For
the
you,
reason why.
bad for you.
Yep.
We'll make sure we don't have a credit card with us next time I go.
I leave my wallet at the shop.
Smart man. Now, what is that? It's like a 45-minute hour drive for you?
45.
About 45, yeah.
Okay.
35 if they're about to close and I really need something.
Right.
Yeah.
Now the cool part is with them being so close, if Talmadge, Ohio has it in stock, I can order it up to what used to be up to 10 p.m. I think that after the killer virus, I think
End of the
they
world.
lowered that down to 8 p.m. now. But if I order and submit the order by 8 p.m., it's here on the UPS truck at 9 a.m. the next day.
That's
Nice.
Yep. And it's a flat 10.99, which is about what I spend in gas to go there and back.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
So, yep.
How's
Unless it's
the-
the middle of the day and I really need something right now, I pretty much just order it shipped all the time.
Now, does the Ohio store have a scratch and dent sale department section?
Yeah. So I believe the Ohio store started the scratch and dent stuff years ago.
Okay.
And then when they opened either Sparks, Nevada, or the Texas location, they adopted it at every location. And then, right either during COVID or right after COVID, they started sending all scratch and dent stuff went to Texas for processing, and that was going to be the only location that sold any scratch and dent stuff. And it was like that for almost a year. But they just brought it back up here, and it's bigger than it ever was. So I don't know if it's just the stuff that's being returned to Talmadge that is being put out here, or if we're actually getting stuff sent up from Texas. I have an interview at Summit tomorrow for some stuff, and I might drop a couple questions.
Okay. Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, that's good.
Like I said, maybe it was.
Yeah, I'm always curious about
the
the behind the scenes stuff.
There's a lot.
It's nice watching Summit grow over the years. You know, I mean, we watched them become the dog.
Yep. Yeah, I remember when they built the new Talmadge warehouse and showroom, and it was a big deal, you know, because I mean Jegs was still the size of a Napa, and you know all that stuff, and it was a big thing. It was really cool. And then now there's 4 locations, every corner of the U.S. basically.
Do they have any built cars in the showroom?
Yes, they did.
Yeah. So I think all the locations are kind of the same now. I think all 4 buildings, but right beside the front door in Talmadge, there's 2 turntables, and they rotate those cars through every couple weeks. So and it'll be like they had one of the cars from Sick Week was out just not too long ago. They've had some of the guys from Street Outlaws bring vehicles by, and then occasionally there'll be local guys that get their car up there too. There's like an application process. A friend of mine has a really, really clean 01 or 02 Camaro SS. It's very, very, it's pristine. And his was on there for almost a month last year or 2 years ago.
That's cool.
Yeah, if nothing else,
yeah, and it's
heated storage.
Yeah. One of the coolest things about going to Summit, while we're on the subject, is for things like racing seats, they have like a dozen or 2 dozen of them sitting out that you can actually sit in and see, you know, you can see different sizes, right? Because racing seats they come across a whole range of sizes. You can tell if if you'll be comfortable long enough in a one without padding, you know, all that different stuff. So it's really cool to be able to go there and try out some of the stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, here's another thing about Summit. They sell a lot of stuff that you wouldn't think they sell.
Yeah.
If you get a chance, really go through their website, because I'm getting a lot of my stuff for the bus from Summit because they're local. You know, I can jump over there real quick and get it. And I was really amazed at how much stuff they have.
What type of stuff are you referring to?
I might get my tires from there.
Okay.
Truck GPS.
No.
I mean, just stuff that you wouldn't think that they'd have there because
it's more than a hot rod shop.
Yeah, when you say Summit or Jegs, you automatically think of hot rod stuff, but not to sound mean or not give it, but it's like a JC Whitney. It has everything, dude. You want curb feelers, it's got curb feelers. I bet you. You know what I'm saying? So, it's just
right.
It has everything.
And they got OEM stuff too. Like if you. I couldn't find like an AC Delco wiper assembly, the transmission linkage. This was a while back, like a couple years ago. And just out of curiosity, I punched in the part number into Google, and the first result was Summit, and they had it in stock.
Wow.
It was either dealership or Summit.
That's always been a dealership part only, yeah.
Let's think about that one.
Right.
They got solar equipment, they got camping equipment, they got a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm. And the owner of Summit, he's big into ham radio too. So the Talmadge location actually has a DX Engineering showroom for ham radio stuff right off of the Summit showroom. And it's really cool that he brings a lot of the stuff to market. Like DX actually makes some stuff that used to be hard to find for ham radio enthusiasts.
I was going to ask you, you wouldn't have an extra radio laying around in your shop, would you?
What kind? Like a CB?
No, well, I don't know. I just want something where I could reach out if I have to. I was looking for an older one, but I don't know what I'm looking at. You know what I mean? I'm looking at a whole bunch of stuff.
So there's a couple of options. For as far as vehicle mounted, CB is going to be your best option. It's more or less line of sight, so the best you're going to hope to talk is maybe 4 or 5 miles, which you probably know from your trucker days, right? I'm sure you have experience with CBs. If you get into anything that can communicate further than a CB, you really get into licensed airspace. So you'll have to be a amateur radio operator, which there's a license for that. Now you can buy amateur radio equipment and turn it on and listen, but in order to press the transmit key, you actually have to have your license. And
you don't want to hit that. You don't want to hit that mic and not be licensed.
No, I didn't.
Right, because
That about amateur radio. I thought that it was very much similar to the CB.
No.
On the shortwave amateur style radio.
No. Nope.
No. Now there's a couple other kinds of radio frequencies that you can get on without having an amateur license. So GMRS is one of them. You buy like the hunting radios, made by Cobra that aren't CB, but they're not quite ham radios. You can get those from like Cabela's and stuff. There is a single-use license included with every handset that you buy with those. So the unit itself is actually legal to transmit on those radio frequencies. And there's some stipulations to go with those, like you can't have a removable antenna, a couple of goofy things like that. But to get into like high transmitting power or any of the cool stuff you can do with like digital encryption and stuff like that, almost all of those frequencies are regulated and set aside for amateur radio operators. But like I said, there's nothing stopping you from buying the equipment and turning it on. It's just in order to transmit, you technically need that license and know what you're doing, right? Because there's your average CB is like 0.7 of a watt or something like that. And the amateur radio spectrum, you can get 100-watt radio. So you can fry some stuff. You can hurt people if you get into like the like taxi cab radios. They're 900 gigahertz, which is very close to the resonating frequency of the human eyeball. So if you didn't know and you got a 900 megahertz radio and you put it down on the hood of your car, in theory, the roof isn't shielding you from that RF emission, and you could actually injure your eyeball by transmitting.
Wow.
There's all kinds of crazy stuff with radio that you start to learn when you get into the ham.
The frequencies that they travel at. This is just basic, very high frequency VHF.
Yeah, pretty much. So the there's 3 levels of license, and it's been forever since I took my test, so I'm not going to remember all of them off the top of my head. But basically, you have your technician license, which is an entry level. You're not required to know any Morse code. You're not. There's some other stipulations. You can't run a base station over a certain wattage and a couple things like that. And you're restricted in the frequencies that you're allowed to transmit on. And for the most part, that's going to be the UHF and VHF ranges where the technician license will cover. And as you start getting into HF, which is longer wavelengths and able to transmit over further distances, the primary concern with the FCC is interference with other commercial areas of the spectrum, right? Because there's only so much bandwidth available in radio waves. So they have like these blocks of different frequencies set aside for different stuff. Some of it's government, some of it's commercial radio, like Ray transmits on. And then the amateur spectrum is kind of just, if you look at the grand scheme of things, it's really like teeny little slivers in between everything else. But yeah, as you start getting into the lower frequency stuff, you need a higher level license. You need more transmitting power, which means a bigger antenna. longer wavelength means bigger antennas anyway. So I mean, you get into like these guys that are talking like from Iceland to Russia to here, and they have antennas that are over 100 feet long. They're basically a big spool of wire. There's all kinds of different stuff you can do. If you get low enough in the frequencies, you can do a cone antenna pointed at the moon, and it's called EME, where you bounce your radio signal off the moon to basically anyone in the hemisphere of the Earth that's facing the moon can talk to you that way.
So if I wanted to go ahead and do like this big HARP array like they have in Alaska down here in Texas, where do I get a license to do something like that?
Well, again, it comes down to transmitting power.
Well,
The National
Ray,
Weather
call
Service.
up Pirate Paul or whatever.
I was just thinking that. I said, boy, I wish I had him in on this conversation, because he knows he's got a retractable antenna, so he can hide it in his house. He brings it up when no one's looking. Yeah,
well, and that's a big aspect of the amateur radio mindset is emergency, disaster, communications, all that kind of stuff. Like, so I know almost every county in the U.S. is going to have some kind of amateur radio club, and one of the things they do, there's several subsections of the community, but one of the things that you can get involved in is like disaster, natural disaster communication stuff, so that people know where you live, and when you're out mobile, you can still communicate as long as your radio has power. But these guys are communicating,
that's
dozens of miles.
That's your local REACT chapters, right?
Yeah. Same thing. Yeah.
Tyler, I gotta say something.
We
don't get to talk to you all that much, but I got to say, honestly, whenever I hear you talk, you always show me something else, man. There's so much going on in that head of yours. I'm very impressed. Very impressed.
It's a curse. It is definitely a curse.
It's a good curse.
Yeah. And but one of the before we get off the subject, one of the really cool things that amateur radios operators are doing recently is they started playing with digital transmissions, which commercial has been using for a long time. The military has been using since the 80s. But one of the major things is if you are transmitting an analog radio signal, you need like several tenths of a watt of remaining power on the receiving end to be able to hear it, right? Because the radio has to take that analog signal and have enough energy in it to convert it into vocalization, to sound waves, right? But when you are transmitting a digital data pulse, the power requirement goes down dramatically, thousands of times smaller to get a clear signal, right? So the local Portage Ham Radio Club was involved a few years ago with a project where they released a weather balloon. I want to say it was from Toronto, and it had a little GPS tracker and a little ham radio that was just set up to transmit its coordinates every half hour or whatever. And they tracked this, and it was a small radio. It only had it was like 1 watt. It was like a CB power level radio. But they tracked this thing all the way across the Atlantic. It crossed over Iceland, and it went all the way to Norway and all this other stuff. It rode the jet stream, and they were tracking it for weeks. It was really, really cool. And digital transmissions is what made that possible, because the amount of power needed is so minuscule.
Right.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
And then the Russians shot it down.
Yeah, probably.
That's why they
got sucked into an airliner.
When you talk about antenna technology, I have an antenna. It's a kind of a wideband antenna that I have in the garage. I just threw it up there just to get better FM, but I'm picking up airplane chatter, and it's knocking out my FM. I'm like, oh man, maybe I got to take this antenna down
or pull it down about a half foot.
Yeah.
We are where I'm at is a holding station or a holding ground for airplanes. We'll have 3 or 4 flying in circles over top of us if they get really backed up or busy or whatever. So the reason why I tell you the story is that one night late,
I don't miss it.
One night very late, and I had fallen asleep with the TV on. Well, I didn't know the dog had we had just put the cable in, and the guy buried it in the backyard, from the thing. Well, the dog dug it up and chewed the stripping off of it.
Oh, wow.
So I'm laying there in bed, and all of a sudden you hear this guy talking. It's like, it's radio, it's airplane talk. But I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Right.
My TV became possessed. You know what I'm saying? And
a bad sauerkraut dog you had.
yeah, I'm like, what the hell? Of course, then, a couple days go by, and the wife's like, hey, the TV, blinked out, and we're like gotten like some kind of chatter going on, and we realized it was airplane. And of course, I go out and find where the dog ate through the cable, and the string, that whatever was picking up whatever ray,
That's funny.
the signal, so that was kind of funny.
So what happened was probably the specific wavelength of that frequency is the amount of copper that was exposed. And you turned your coax into an antenna for that frequency.
Yeah. 1 over lambda.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
You can calculate that
Well,
out.
this is-
There's an actual. That's.
Yeah, so this is just a small Chinese-made
Yeah, I got one of those.
ham radio that I added a aftermarket radio antenna to. So the aftermarket antenna is quite a bit higher quality, and it lets you get a lot more range out of it. But the interesting thing about getting these Chinese-made ham radios is they operate on more frequencies than you're technically allowed to transmit on. So this radio, I can actually tune into a lot of airliner commercial traffic and listen to that kind of stuff. Now, I would be in huge trouble if I ever hit the transmit button.
Yeah.
But you can always listen in without any
catch you?
ramifications. So there's all kinds of different ways that they can catch you.
It pings a single. There's a ping. I mean, it pings. I had a buddy of mine. He had one of those transponder boxes from an airplane, and he turned it on and started bouncing it off in the city. And boy, it didn't take very long for them to find them.
Really?
Yeah. So the people you don't engage with the FCC on a regular basis, right? Oh, they're
Yes.
the people that give a radio station their license to transmit and stuff like that. But they actually have a monitoring system that looks at a lot of these, especially the sensitive frequencies, right? So airline traffic, stuff for emergency response, all that kind of stuff. Anything that's like the microwave tower to tower communications they used to use a lot of. Excess transmissions on those frequencies will screw up other stuff that's important. So they look for sources of interference, and that's how most people get caught. Now, within the ham radio spectrum, like if you're operating an unauthorized repeater in an area where you're not supposed to on a specific frequency, a lot of hams will self-police. So they'll be trying to talk on a frequency, and your fax machine or whatever is broadcasting radio or something stupid. They'll typically track that down, and there's different ways. Some guys make that their hobby. They'll do like radio direction finding and stuff. So there's a whole post-apocalyptic survival aspect to being with radio communication as well. In fact, a lot of people, the prepper community, they're big into radio stuff. And so even though you might be able to digitally encrypt your radio, it's still transmitting, so you can still actually be found your location with radio direction finding. Now, obviously,
With that
there's
direction finding-
levels of
With that direction
What's that?
finding, is that like triangulation?
Yep, that involves triangulation basically. So if you were, say total anarchy, right? Governmental collapse, whatever, and you're out camping in the hills and you have your family with you or whatever, and your Uncle Ted goes off to hunt, and you haven't heard from him in a while, so you key up your radio and you say, "Hey, Uncle Ted, what's going on?" And you guys are chit-chatting back and forth. If there's some technologically moderately advanced adversary out there looking for you as competition for food or whatever scenario you can think of, they can find you because you're transmitting. So knowing when to transmit, what frequency agility is a big thing too. It's really going back to like everything that the Allies and Axis did in World War II. Especially the early days of World War II and into the early days of the Cold War. That's in the civilian sector now, as far as survivalist type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So,
All right, we'll talk more Sunday.
Radio wise, we have a ton of pirates. They're all in Brooklyn because our radio signal used to reach into Manhattan and up to Connecticut. But once you hit like the Queens Brooklyn line, the pirates, they just steal the FM signal. So there's guys that I know because I was getting reports and they'd rat them out to the FCC and the FCC would go. And so they'll actually go and, they'll confiscate the equipment. They'll take it down.
Oh yeah.
But these guys like drug dealers. They really don't care. And it's all Caribbean stuff, Caribbean and Jamaican. I don't know where these guys get funded, but man, they get busted. The stuff gets confiscated. They're back on the air the next week and they're stronger,
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
got
it's
a
crazy.
six-
So
I'm
the
sorry.
way
Sorry, guys. They got a 68 Corvette, and I don't think I've ever seen one with a vinyl top. It's like summer yellow or a pale yellow, and it's got a vinyl top on a Corvette. Has anybody else
What are
ever
you
seen a
watching?
vinyl top on a
I think
Corvette?
I've seen that in a book. I didn't see a picture of one in the book.
you
What are
watching
you
Barrett
looking at?
Jackson or something?
Barrett Jackson, yeah.
What channel is that on?
FYI.
FYI.
If you have Cablevision, it's channel 160.
160. Thank you, Jim.
But yeah, I guess this is the first night or whatever, the second
No, this
night
is
or
the
whatever.
fourth night. They started on Monday.
Oh,
Yep.
really?
They've
Wow.
been going for a couple days.
But I have never seen a Corvette with a vinyl top.
No, neither have I.
That
Now
is
I'm
the
looking at a
weirdest
blue
looking thing.
Firebird.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, but
No, you're right.
What did it go for?
44.
Wow.
44,000, 68 Corvette. They had a 70 Boss 302 base model. So that came with the hubcaps, no shaker hood, and it only went for 62,000. But they had a 69 Mach 1 that went for 65.
Well, that's not about what the car's worth. It's about who's there doing the bidding
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah. But I was really surprised. It was a barn find, still with original paint. It was grabber orange.
But this Corvette was a hard top, right?
This Corvette was a hard top that just went through.
All right.
Yeah.
Bill was just asking if there was
A hard
there was
vinyl
removable
top?
Hard top. They had
Yeah, it was a
removable hard tops for the convertibles, and a lot of those were vinyl.
Yeah, but this thing, it just looked really funny with the it was that it wasn't as bright as the Harvest Gold trim. I mean, Christmas, kitchen, but it was that beige yellow.
Yeah. Butternut, like butternut yellow, whatever the hell they call it.
Butternut. Yeah. Well,
And,
that's a Dodge color.
But it had
thing.
a really black vinyl top, and it just looked it just
That's called
looked kind
armor.
of funny. There's a 69 Pontiac Firebird now.
It's already sold. We're ahead of you. We're into commercial already.
Really?
Already done. That's sold for 56,000.
Come on, how can that be? I'm watching it now. How can you be ahead of me? What kind of time? We're on the same timeline.
We're fast in New York, Brian. Come on. Things
Jesus,
are fast.
slow
We haven't-
down. Life is too fast. Slow.
We're
Come
on
back,
slow.
Ray.
Brian, all
The saying is New York minute.
is monitored through NSA. NSA sees everything before you see it.
Oh.
Slow down to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, aren't they
have
at
to
Fort
have
Meade,
one
Maryland
anyway.
anyway?
They know about you. They're throttling you.
Right.
Oh, no shit.
Oh, I'm
I
on
know.
several lists.
Yeah.
I'm on a lot of lists. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
I heard that
I
you can call the State Department and get your list.
Really?
Yeah,
Can
you can request your what they have.
Oh, Freedom of
within-
Information Act.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or
We should
either
do
that or
that, and then we
Patriot
should
Act.
get together and
Yeah.
compare lists.
I don't even want to know.
Nope.
I guarantee you the ATF is watching me. The FBI is watching me. It's got to be a long. The only one I think I'm probably safe from is the CIA because they're not supposed to operate inside the U.S. and I've never left.
Not supposed to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell that to Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah, now my
Sunday,
phone's gonna tattletale on me and be like, "Hey, you just said the word CIA."
Yeah.
No shit.
so
It was
Sunday,
funny. I don't know if you heard. I was talking to one of my customers. I was like, "All right, Nick, what's going on?" And he's like, "Brian, I need a new liver." And I was like, "Oh, okay," just joking around. Of course, I go back to the truck and I pull my phone out. First thing that came across on my Facebook commercial was how to improve liver output or something, or protect your liver. And I was like, God, this phone's listening to us.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Big Brother's always listening.
I don't remember exactly what was said. I was in my buddy's new Chevy truck a couple of weeks ago, and we had I think the satellite was on, the radio was on, but we were just talking about something, and he said something to me, and I replied back, like, "Nah, man, I would never do that, ever." And through the radio, it came a female voice that said, "You should try that. You might like it." I was like, we looked at each other like, "What the? Turn that damn thing off!" Like, what the hell is going on, man?
Well, that's like someone sent me a meme the other day. It's when you were just bad mouthing Elon Musk, and all of a sudden your Tesla starts self-driving and speeding up, and you can't open the doors.
Yeah.
Right. What's worse is when you're thinking it, and then you go to open up Google, and Google gives you the search that you were thinking. You didn't even speak
That's really freaky.
Yeah.
And that's scary.
A little scary sometimes.
Yeah.
It has happened to me, and I'm trying to say, but no, we all know what's going on here.
Yep.
Yep.
What's up, Terry?
What's up, Terry?
What's up, gentlemen? How y'all doing?
Hey,
Hey,
chilling.
Terry, when you get this box from me,
good.
where are you going to put it? That garage is a little packed over there, son.
Now I got to move that old
Just
box.
put it in
And
my
I got
shop.
plenty of room. Don't worry about it. We got plenty of room.
Okay.
Terry, the Pontiac's looking good. I like that you got back on the Le Mans project. That's good.
Getting back on the Le Mans project. I'm talking with Ames Performance. They're gonna we're working out something for all the sheet metal
Are you talking
and
to
everything
Kevin?
like
Who
that.
are you
we
talking
can-
to at Ames?
Kyler?
Tyler and Kevin are the two guys.
Kyler
that
Ames?
break.
Kyler, I guess it's Kyler Ames. I don't know. He says that he's close. I think he's the son. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
he's the
think
third
that
generation.
Ames was
I
still
think.
in business. Congratulations. That's fantastic. They're still in business.
Kevin is the outside salesman. I would meet him in Englishtown every year and pick up my stuff. Just pick it
Yeah.
up.
I
Phenomenal.
was telling him about that.
I get to talk.
Well,
I talk to all those guys at Pontiac Nationals every year
Yeah.
over at Norwalk, Ohio.
by the way, that Corvette, that removable hardtop, it's called an auxiliary roof.
Okay.
No, I'm not correct. I'm just saying, I had a 71 and it had.
It sounded like you were correct.
I think it's better. It's a convertible, but it's a, you can still have that
Yeah, it's
soft
a
top.
removable hard top. Yeah.
Removable hard.
Now-
I think
So,
it's a
but
better
you had a
look.
Now I
vinyl
know why
top
you're-
on yours? You had a vinyl top?
Mine's was a hard top.
No.
But they do-
The Corvette that just went cross had a vinyl top.
Yeah.
Right, but you can get it in vinyl or either have a hard. It may have been taken off because I remember I had a buddy who had one and his was vinyl. Yes.
They did it a lot on the. I have a removable hardtop for my Fiat, and it's the second one. So I had one for my first car as well, and both of them have a vinyl, like an alligator kind of vinyl top. I
Yes.
think it's because the removable top is fiberglass, and just like with the factory cars, that's how they hid all the imperfections. They just threw vinyl over it and glued it on.
Do some glue on it and that's it.
Yeah, done.
What kind of Fiat do you have?
A 124 Spider.
I was hoping you were going to tell me a Giulia or a Giulietta.
I wish that too. Yeah.
Okay.
No. Just a Spider.
Okay.
I like the Spider.
Spiders are cool, but it's still not a Giulia.
But
Hey Terry, when you throwing those motors in the back of your ZL1 and headed this way?
You mean my Trailblazer?
The ZL1, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I know what you mean. Very, very soon. There he is. What's up, Justin?
Hey.
Very soon. Very
What up,
soon.
Justin?
I'm gonna throw one in there because they just want to do one.
Oh well.
Yeah, they want to do one that's complete and then measure all the, like, because they have all the gauges that they can measure, see what kind of wear a 200,000 mile engine has. So they want to compare that to their new parts and all that. We're talking.
Nice.
We're talking about doing something with Summit where they want me to bring one of my engines down that like I didn't take apart yet. I take the heads off, of course, just for light. Make it lighter. but it's going to be an engine that has been untouched. It got like 220,000 miles on it, and they want to compare bearings and
like cylinder taper, things like
yeah,
that.
they want to see, like what you can expect on a 200-mile engine,
Size,
1,000-mile engine, and compare notes and all that.
So you're going to go to Ohio and Texas?
Ohio.
Oh no, come on down to Texas, man. It's warmer.
I would love to. If that's an invite,
but
I
the
would
people are
definitely
cooler in
take you up on
Ohio.
it.
Hey,
I could definitely take you
people
up
might
on
be
it.
cooler, but it's warm here, and we open our warm hearts to you.
You need that truck, Brian.
Listen, it'll be warm here again eventually.
Look at Tyler's
We can always help.
Yeah, eventually.
We always help.
Hey, I need a transmission for a
Arizona's warmer.
I need a transmission
warm.
for a 03 Sonoma. That's
Automatic?
No, not a Sonoma. What is it? It's the GMC. It's like the S10, but it's the GMC version.
Sonoma.
What was that? A 4L60?
I don't know.
Sonoma.
I don't know what.
Is it the V6? Is that a 4.3 in it?
Yeah, it's the V6. It's the ZR5.
I think it's a 4L60.
Yeah, 4L60.
I just got word that
ZR2
vinyl hard tops in '68 were an option, and they made over 3,000 of them.
Oh yeah.
Just in on a wire.
The more you
So
know.
it's a. What did you say it was?
Ray just left, like he just dropped the mic and just took off.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
I'm out.
yeah. Like he's like,
There was an
I'll see
option
your
back in
your
63.
webcam angle looking down your nose, Terry, and he's like, boom.
Mhm. He's like,
What
now I had
transmission?
I
you
had
have there?
someone Corvette for like maybe,
Probably a 4L60.
and I couldn't stand that car.
You got any laying around in the back, Tyler?
Not anymore, no.
Come on, man. You
Ryan,
you're
4L60s
hoarding.
are
I know
made
you
of
got one
matchsticks
around.
and glass.
Ryan Snyder, give him a call.
We just got rid
Yeah,
of one.
that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah.
LKQ, give them a call.
We
Who?
just got rid of a 4L60.
LKQ.
Yeah,
Or
I'm,
car-part.com. My buddy runs that. It's a salvage yard cross-reference site.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I might buy this truck off my buddy. Got a little rust,
Don't do
but
it.
huh?
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
No.
You wanna keep 'em as-
never buy a vehicle off your buddy.
never buy a vehicle from a friend.
Yep.
Hey, Nora
Oh,
says
no.
hello.
I've couple of relationships have
Family
failed
friend.
because of that. Friendships.
Family.
Well, no, it's a
never buy-
raggedy truck. I mean, I'm just getting it. It's a beater. I'm not trying to have a Cadillac.
It's the 4L60.
Yeah.
Is it? All right. So
All right, fellas,
yeah.
I'm gonna jump off and get ready to head to bed. I got to get up early in the morning.
all right, Paul. Thanks for hanging
All
out.
right,
with
Paul.
us.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
gonna take you up
We
on
can
that
talk
offer,
about
Paul.
vegetables now.
Hey,
Good text.
Good night.
come on down. The garage is open. It's warm.
Hey, listen.
Who's coming to Tulsa? Eh? Lewis, you gonna come out to Tulsa?
No, I ain't gonna make it up. My money's funny.
My money's funny too. you got to make sure that it dries just right when it comes off the printer.
Yeah, right.
Look at
Here's your call.
the Brussels sprouts over there.
Oh, man.
Ugh.
Starting the food hour early.
All right, guys. Y'all enjoy. Take
All
care.
right, Paul. Take it easy.
See you, Paul.
Holy,
He's gonna have vegetable nightmares now.
Speaking
Yeah.
of Brussels sprouts, I have pickled Brussels sprouts.
Huh.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I've ever
Yep.
had those.
Yeah.
I've never seen them or heard of them. My father-in-law, he handed them to me and said, "Do you like these?" I said, "I've never tried them, but I like Brussels sprouts. They're actually not that bad."
Have you seen
Wow.
how they grow?
Yes,
Oh,
They
I've
grow
never tried
like
them.
a tree. Like it's
I'll
weird.
show you. I couldn't
What's
believe
he
it.
showing us?
I'm going to show you.
Yeah, it's
I thought he was gonna
you
pull
would
out
never
like a
imagine
tree
it grows the
bark.
way it grows.
Right.
I thought he,
Yeah,
I thought he was
totally
gonna pull a
expected him
plant
to
out or
bring up
something.
That's what I'm
potted-
saying. Extract the
potted,
Brussels sprout.
I wouldn't doubt it.
100%. It's on the corner of his desk right now. I don't know why he's looking at his phone.
Yeah, I'm gonna find it. I come home one day, and I come in the house. My wife came home from shopping. I'm like, "What the hell is that?" And she said, "You don't know what that is?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"No, that's why I'm asking you what the hell that is."
You would never imagine it look like that.
I thought she ripped the spine out of an alien.
Yep. The only reason I came across
Well,
this
it's like
because I was
sesame
gonna grow some.
seeds.
Look at that.
Oh yeah.
What the hell?
That is
It
how
looks like the
Brussels sprouts
Grinch.
grow.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't that
It
that
looks like the
crazy?
spine of an alien.
It's the Brussels sprout. Yeah.
Looks like
Yeah.
a cactus.
I thought it was little
Wow.
little cabbage in the ground. You just pick them up, but they're growing like a tree.
I never thought of it.
Me
So-
either.
Lewis, I had to go up and get my 2009 tranny guide.
Okay.
My buddy at the tranny shop gave this to me. So you said a 2003 Sonoma?
Yeah.
Wait, that's a GMC.
Yeah.
Here you go, Justin. We're cross-referencing.
All right.
Here we go. We got a Grand National across the bid right now.
Oh, buddy.
87.
Nah, it's already gone.
What year?
Wait,
87. That's the fast one. I say that goes for 110.
GMC says use Chevrolet.
I bet you it's
Wouldn't be-
black.
Yeah, it's black.
100%.
Did you see the picture Tyler posted earlier?
Of what?
Of the-
Oh my goodness, that
The
Grand,
Grand
National.
National fell off the lift.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
my God.
Dude, I know a
Somebody's
guy
gotta-
who's
Yeah.
probably crying. if
Okay,
he saw it.
S10 Jimmy and
If you-
Sonoma.
I'd cry a little bit.
Okay, from
Yeah.
91 to 04, the S10, S15 Jimmy and Sonoma. It's the L. It's the 4-cylinder 2.5 liter, or the V6 is a 4.3 liter. It's a 4-speed rear-wheel drive 4x4. Uses a 4L60E.
4L60.
There you go.
We just pulled one out of that one
Confirmed.
truck.
So that's same transmission.
So I tell you what, Lewis, I got a 4L60E in the Silverado out back that I need to pull that 5.3 out of to put in my Beamer project. So you come and pull the motor and tranny, you can have the tranny.
Ooh.
Good deal.
Can I cut the car up?
It drove here. I know the transmission works.
Can
I cut the car
up?
Yeah, I don't care. It's scrap. I don't have a title for it.
All
I
right.
mean,
that's the deal.
I totally have a title for it.
I tell you what, Lewis, I'm gonna come out there and help you get that transmission out.
All right. I was gonna hire one of the cluckers around here.
Yeah.
Hey man, come on, let's take a ride.
What kind of?
Now, they know I
what
stay
kind
strapped
of-
around here. They don't mess with me.
What type of car is it in, Tyler?
It's a Silverado with a 5.3, and it's like a 2002, 2003. But
Okay, so yeah, the front clip comes up, not the
I
clip,
got
but
the truck.
the front end grill and all that radiator
Oh, we
support.
can-
Lift that truck, slide right out.
Man, I'm coming with some torches.
I'll give you the. Yeah, I was gonna say I'll give you the hot wrench. We'll crawl under there. We'll zip off the heads of all the body mounts. We'll borrow the neighbor's Bobcat, flip the body off, and then just have at it.
Yeah.
The Grand National only went for 65.
Really?
Wow, really?
I bet you it was probably worn a little bit.
I don't know. These
I don't
cars
know.
look really good. I don't know.
Hey, me and
Probably
Tyler
that
got a
Grand
buddy
National
that got
felt
a
that lift.
clean one.
We've got a guy that we work with. He rents space out of the front shop. He buys and sells little cars, and he's big into Trans Ams and Grand Nationals. And he's got one that's got like super low miles. It's the cleanest thing I've ever seen.
I think
Yeah.
His
One of the
What's
local
ours,
guys to
35?
us.
Huh?
I thought it was like ridiculous. I thought it was like 13.
yeah.
He bought it
yeah,
as an investment.
yeah, it's
He
a
doesn't
real
even drive
one.
it.
It's so original. The antenna still works.
I'd beat the hell out that car.
I think it has the factory tires on it, Lewis.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would roast. Well, you know what? I take the factory tires off, put them to the side, and just roast whatever tires are on there.
You
know.
can't, man. You can't do that to that car because
A Grand National?
man. That's an investment.
I bet you that car, as it sits, is probably worth every bit of $100K.
Yeah.
Unhook the speedo.
I don't know what he spent on it. But he got it several years ago, and I guess the price was right for what it is. But it's silly low miles.
Let it rip.
All the paperwork.
Yep. See, I couldn't have like a Grand National or a T-Type or any of those rare Buicks in the G body because I'd LS swap it.
Yeah.
We're doing
That'd be a
that.
good fit too.
We got a T-tip in the shop. We put an LSX in.
There's so much
Oh, yeah?
stuff you could put the motor in besides messing with that. You don't mess with that. That's like a unicorn.
Listen, I've got like 14 projects here, and I got time to work on 0 of them. So I talk a big game, and I buy projects, and they sit outside. That's what I do.
You need to let me get that Beamer.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
tell you what, come help me pull this motor, and we'll put that 5.3 in it.
as far as projects go, Terry, I want to know, you're going to throw that 2-barrel on the Pontiac and start it up, or what?
Already did.
Oh, you did? Okay. I must
Upcoming
be a video
video.
behind.
No. I just never filmed it. I'll let you know. I mean, I filmed it. I just never put it out yet.
Okay.
That's
Gotta
going to probably be in the next couple of videos. And I actually got a 4-barrel carburetor that I'm thinking about putting on there, and a 4-barrel Pontiac manifold my friend gave me. And I'm thinking about doing that just for the content.
Okay.
Listen,
Yeah.
Terry works in mysterious ways. He filmed a segment while I was at his house with my bus, and I still haven't seen that anywhere. So
That's coming. That's coming. Lewis Lee,
Yeah,
that's
the
coming.
can
All
full
that
of
stuff
stuff.
is coming.
Terry, I'm sending you a video of a guy that he bought a 74 Le Mans GT. It's a low production car. It's a 350 with a 4-speed.
That was that new
16
body
of them.
style. That was the new body style that kind of
Yeah.
almost looks like, yeah.
The Colonnade. Only
Yeah.
16 of them were made with a 4-speed. And
Really?
I tell you, when you hear this car, there was no way I thought this thing had a 350 in it. I know now they make a stroker kit, but he claims this is a stock engine. This car doesn't have a stock cam in it. There's no way.
That was when
Well, I
they
tell
had
you
the
what,
Grand Dam
I-
with the little squishy nose.
Oh, that was the same kind of
It looks,
nose.
looks similar, yeah. I always thought that car was
So,
slick, especially the back windows with
I-
like
What
the
year?
Westerns.
74.
Is that a Ventura?
No, it's a Le Mans.
Oh,
I had a customer bring me a
I just sent it to you, Terry. Check this out.
64 Bel Air with a 406 in it. And man, let me tell you that this is the nicest sounding Chevy small block I've ever heard. It
Right.
sounded like a high compression big block. It was
The thing that's
perfect.
different about a Vrbo vacation home. You
It was the factory.
Terry, turn the commercial down.
It's not me.
Yeah. No, I didn't.
Was it factory, Tyler?
No. There wasn't a thing factory about that car.
Yeah.
No.
It was a sleeper though. It was definitely a sleeper. He had me hook up nitrous in it.
Nice.
It was my first real performance customer here at the shop.
has a
Sadly,
GTO. Ooh.
he
It's the
actually
same
passed
body as the
away
GTO that
2
year.
years
Oh,
ago.
yeah.
But
It
his
has a GTO
his son,
footing.
But listen to the engine when he
has the car
drives
now.
by.
His son has it.
yeah,
All right,
Yeah,
guys.
they the family
I'll
at least.
pick it up early tomorrow.
All right.
All
Jim.
right.
See, Jim.
The
All
first
right,
one
Jim.
dropped.
Stay safe.
Take
Take
care,
care.
buddy.
So Tyler, I've been
man.
researching for this spray foam, so I'll let you know if I come across a good deal. Don't look like
yeah,
it,
and
though.
if it's cheaper to buy it in like a larger quantity or something, we'll get both buses ready and just spray them same time.
What mine's 600 square feet. What do you think yours is gonna be? About 9?
Probably the same or less because I got way more windows than you.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. What was I gonna? Oh, isn't it? We're like on the 1 year anniversary of the bus build, right? Raising the roof.
Was it today? I think so.
Pretty close. It was the one at the 29th.
Yeah, it's 26. Yeah, we're getting close. Yeah.
Yeah,
Dang it.
Time
We should have
flies.
a show.
yeah, right. Should have brought it up.
You know what?
Yeah, we can do a 1 year recap
That's
next
nice.
week.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do that. So what? That'd be Sunday.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
I think it was January 29th, right?
I think so. I have to look back. Yeah,
See the
if it
six-
is,
Seven,
was,
right?
that was the Friday.
07, yeah. It's almost
That
done,
was the
Brian. It's
Friday,
almost
and this
off the stage
this
already.
year it's
Sorry, something
done.
went wrong.
Siri, go to sleep.
It's done.
what, the 67?
There's a red truck up there now.
Yeah. For 33.
34.
Hey, look,
Listen,
I
I
just looked
I
away.
think Matt-
Relax, young man. You guys.
Ray's like
I
from
think
the future.
Macho Man Brian, when he came back from 1985 in his DeLorean, he must have set it like 1 or 2 minutes behind.
Yeah, exactly.
Wrong time in.
Hey, don't talk about my time zone, lady. I set the clock different from the living room, and the wife goes, "Why?" And I said, "That's because of the time zone difference." You know what I'm saying? No, actually, I found out. Actually, I'm on with you guys. I didn't realize. I had. I guess I'd gone back to look at something.
Oh,
Oh, you did the instant replay.
Yeah, the DVR was record, so I kind of speeded up. So because they got a what is that, a 57 Chevy?
57 Chevy, right? She's showing the vents above the headlights.
Yeah. Okay, I'm live. I'm live with you. I'm not.
All right,
I'm not
good.
behind the steps.
Good.
Which
Have you guys
out
ever
of
been out there?
curiosity,
Huh?
you ever been to Barrett Jackson?
No, I want to
One
go.
day.
It's-
I went 1 year, man. It's incredible. Big
I
money.
want to go. I don't think I can talk the wife into it.
Big money grips go out there, boy.
Boy, I tell
It's
you.
on my bucket list.
But
You
I
gotta
do
go
want
with
to
the
say
Wildcat
one
if you want
thing that I think that I mean, I did not realize, or due to the way the world is, I have a friend and his Porsche came in that he had ordered and he waited 2 years for.
Really?
That was the wait. And he told me, I said, well, why didn't you get a GT3? That was a 5-year wait.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
So the next guy that complains to me that he had to wait 18
days.
weeks.
6 months for his Dodge Ram.
18 weeks for his toolbox. I say, well, luckily it's not a Porsche, and wait 2 years for.
You know,
Wow.
I find that completely insane.
you know,
That
there's a
you'd
guy.
wait.
There's a guy in my chiropractor's office, got a lot of money. He ordered a new Porsche and the SUV, and it was because of the chip shortage. They held him up for like over a year, and finally, they wanted him to take the car incomplete. And he says, "No way," because I'm paying you a lot of money. He goes, "It's going to devaluate." So he canceled the order and he went and he bought a Maserati.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, so I'm
It's
okay.
crazy.
Those are nice too.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we're dealing with Molly's incident, and we're still working through the money part. And just to show you, even though that the used car market's still a little crazy, not as crazy it was, but she was looking at she had a 2017 Jetta. And she actually worked out pretty good because the money she's getting back will pay off her loan, and she's starting out where she started. She drove the car she drove a car basically for 2 years, and she's getting all her money back.
Good.
Oh, that's good.
So with a little bit more, not much, but enough to buy a McDonald's Happy Meal and maybe ice cream.
Oh, man. Those are pretty
But
expensive.
so she started looking at price range. She started looking at 2019 Jettas. That's basically where it fell for the same price range that she was in. Well, the funny part was I was by the Volkswagen dealership Tuesday. That's one of my stops. So I walked through and they had brand new base model Jettas for 21.
Wow.
And she's looking at
That might be the most
2 year.
affordable car I've heard of in a while.
Huh?
That might be the most affordable car I've heard in a while.
Yeah, well, so it was 21 base model, nothing fancy, and she was looking at these 2019s for 2019 for 19,000. That was, and those were base models with like 20,000 miles on it. And I told her, I said, right now Volkswagen's got a 1.9% interest. I said, you might as well. It's not going to change your payment too much. You might as well just go get a 23 brand new with a warranty.
Yeah.
The only problem that you have is that you're limited on what they have in stock and what your color. I mean, I think they had 4 of them up there, that people backed out of. But that's what they said. Now it's all Toyota's the same way. I know Ford's going this way. They want you to come in, put a deposit down for $1,000 and wait 6 months for a car.
Did you hear the chorus that's gently singing in the background? Quattro, quattro, quattro. No, you didn't hear that.
Yeah, well, we're not even talking. We're not allowed to talk about me and my problems. But hey,
No, I'm talking about for her. It's a good car for her.
So, but I was really, so I started looking at all this, and I was like, they're trying to hold that used car market's trying to hold on because they've made so much money, of the price on that stuff. And of course, I was just dumbfounded. Can you imagine going in today in the year 2023 and putting your $15,000 down for a GT3 Porsche and then get a model year like 2028 because you had to wait 5 years for it?
Yeah. No.
And so what happens if they discontinue the model between now and then?
Well, I don't think they do, but I just noticed I was watching something the other day on one of my Instagram things. They came out with a Porsche Heritage Series car. They were showing one down in Champaign, down there in Florida, Champaign Porsche. They were showing a Heritage car, and I think that's basically because they said one of 24 cars or one of 36. And I think this is where they're just building a car that was probably 3 years ago. Whatever leftover parts they had, they're building these cars and they're just reventing them for 2023. And it's what they have laying around, technology wise, you know what I'm saying? They're calling it the Heritage Series, and they make 30 of them and they sell them for 3 times the price because people are going to buy them.
Wow.
So,
well, we got in the wrong record.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Man, I say that every day. I see some gadget, that made someone rich, or some thing, some idea that someone else came up with.
There you go, Ray.
That's so simple.
67.
Yep.
Like the pocket fisherman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From Romco.
Romco, right.
Think about the safety pin or the bobby pin.
Right.
Yeah.
You remember they had
Think about
Romco? They had
the person that came up with stretch fit
make
hats.
the cigarette yourself. They had the little cigarette making machine.
Right. The roller, cigarette roller. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
People were using it for different reasons, of course.
Listen, somebody smoking weed created that.
Cool
It was
before
like, man,
midnight
my fingers are hurting.
So, Ray, do you like
Slide
salt and vinegar chips?
Yes.
So this
I
is
do.
the perfect companion for your
Balsamic
Brussels sprout.
reduction. Whoa, look at that.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah,
All right, that's cool. Yeah.
perfect on Brussels sprouts.
Yeah. I tell you, once she figured out that bacon thing, I was like, bring them on, man. Make them. Make them.
Hey, we
Yep.
need help finding out how to cook these shrimp that we had in Indianapolis.
What
Oh
kind
my
of shrimp?
goodness.
It's not the shrimp. I gotta figure out what kind of chemical science project horseradish they put in that cocktail sauce.
Listen,
Oh, you know what? It's the stuff I have in my refrigerator. My wife makes a horseradish. It'll make your hair stand up.
listen,
Dude,
Ray,
this is
this thing we take a bite and it blew like your eyeballs, your ears,
I'm
but
telling
then it
you.
go away. Like as soon as you're done swallowing it, it's gone.
seconds,
Like
it's
nothing
gone.
happened.
Well, today I made a sandwich for lunch, and mayo on one half the bread, this horseradish on the other, and I put my pickles on there, and the cold cuts, and the cheese, and lettuce, and the horseradish just gives it this zing. But she makes it. She actually boils the beets, softens them up. You get a jar of Gold's white horseradish as a base. Put the beets in it, then a little bit of sour cream, a little sprinkle of sugar, and then like the first go is usually the killer one. And we usually go like 1 or 2 reductions. This time I said leave it like that, and
Yeah.
you put it hits the roof of your mouth, and your sinuses just go.
Oh, it just clears your
Does
nostrils.
it go
yeah.
away?
It
Like
does.
right away?
It does. It does go away. Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
I don't know which one. I don't know which one you guys tapped out. Which I think was Tyler.
Tyler.
Yeah, Tyler
Yeah,
tapped
I
out.
did.
He couldn't- I
Listen.
was like, bring that over here.
It was full blown fire. But then
Yeah.
it was incredible because it went away and then you tasted all the flavor. You're like,
It was-
wow, that was great.
Oh, it was like picture like almost everyone's had horseradish and they know that it hits your sinuses and that kind of thing. I call it the fumes, But picture that crossed with like the worst brain freeze you've ever
It
had.
was all up here.
Intense for like 10 or 15 seconds and then just gone. Nothing.
that's
like
wild.
you
And everybody in the restaurant's
Oh, it
looking
was-
at you
it was
because they know it's going to
Everyone's
happen.
looking at us. 'Cause they
yeah,
knew.
everyone knew. Yeah.
Where did you guys have that?
There's the veterans and there's the uninitiated, and you could tell who was who.
Right.
And it's the only appetizer on the menu is the shrimp cocktail.
And
That's
where is
how
that? What's the place?
St. Elmo's Steakhouse.
St. Elmo Steakhouse. I would think I was having an aneurysm, if it lasted like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dude,
Look,
I've never done like acid or drugs or anything like that, but I guarantee you it's got to be something like that.
Yeah.
Look, I took a bite and I was like, and
Yeah.
then I was like, what happened?
And then
You
you're
look
confused.
over. You look over. You see people laughing at you.
I tell you, at Christmas,
Yeah.
we went out to the legit Polish store and bought the real kielbasis, the big kielbasis, and I fry that thing up till it's almost blackened, and I scooped the horseradish with it, and my daughter, my wife, they want to take like a little, like their pinky's worth. I'm scooping the damn thing in. I got like a 1-inch mound on there, and shove it in the mouth, and like, what are you doing? I'm like, this is how you got to eat this stuff, man. You got to just like, and give me the tequila.
Dude,
chase,
I just had like a deja vu moment, and I had a visceral vision of the way that made me feel, and
Yeah, that's cool.
that's something you can't describe to someone beforehand.
No.
No.
Well, like
There's
I
no
said,
way.
I put it on my sandwiches. I put it on burgers.
It's like the first time I ever shocked myself changing an outlet without turning off the power.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
exactly. That's
can't just-
exactly it.
Right.
Yeah, you can't describe that to somebody.
No. I remember the first time I got an HEI shock. I was working under the hood of the car, and I was holding the fender with the other hand, and I hit the plug, and I did this. It like went whoop, up one shoulder down. I was like, whoa! I was like, that was cool.
Yeah. So
And the worst
Go ahead.
part about that, Ray, is you try to redo that because it was so cool. And that's the idiot that I am. You get that, and you're like, oh, I can do that again. And you're like,
I literally did the
you
one,
know,
man. My shoulder just I
I
had
just
to
shocked the crap
no
out of you about
control
3
over my
times.
muscle,
It's
no
like,
control.
wow, why can't I do the wave? You're over there.
I had no
So
control.
the first time I ever worked on a vehicle was at my buddy's house. We did 1.9 roller rockers on his GTP.
1.9s. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Because the 3800s, they're really limited on lobe lift on cams. So they'll run a more aggressive rocker to get the valve lift. But anyway, I was total greenhorn. Like I'd never done brakes. I grew up in a household where my parents leased vehicles and had Valvoline oil changes and all that stuff, So my dad was a woodworker, not any kind of car mechanic. So I'm 16 years old helping my buddy change his roller rockers, and my friend Greg was there. And when we go to fire the car back up, and it's running really rough, and he's like, "Oh, we probably got the firing order wrong." And he said, "Here, take that plug wire off the coil, and if it gets worse, then we know it's whatever." So I yank it off, and nothing happened to me, and it's arcing everywhere, of course, And he goes, "Oh no, that wasn't it. Put it back on." And man, that lit me up.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I did a somersault.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't describe that to somebody what that really feels like.
Nope.
Again.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
Yeah. It's like
It's funny because I got these
being on
TENS
the cow
machines.
fence,
I got these TENS units that I use for for pain management with the pads, and you can really zap yourself good, but
Oh,
it's still
yeah.
nothing like an HEI.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, if you go to the medical grade one, like nurses have to test like nervous system response and
I've
stuff
had
like
that done. I've had that test done.
Those TENS
Purple.
units, they puts out some power, buddy.
I'm trying to remember what that test was called.
The carpal tunnel.
Because they'll induce it in one part of your body and they read it somewhere else. They want to see the travel. I think
Right.
they're doing my my leg at the time. Yeah, that's some serious
I
stuff.
had them do they did my carpal tunnel, and man, I was feeling it in my ear. He had hit another button, I'd feel it in my hip. I'm like, man, are you trying to kill me?
Yeah, yeah,
That thing ain't no joke, man.
right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's an ugly
My wife
car.
was cracking up. I was like, man, this is killing me.
So, Lewis, how much room in my bus do I have to dedicate to a microgreens pop out roadworthy garden?
Not much. I don't have any in here. Wait a minute.
I mean, we
You're
talk
doing
like the
Brussels
size of a
sprouts, you need
casket.
like a little small part. You need latitude with Brussels sprouts.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I mean, we talking like the size of a casket, the size of a what?
Yeah, but yeah. You can do it in a 3 foot by 2 foot rack.
Well, you can grow
Yeah.
root vegetables too, so you just need some depth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got plenty
'Cause
of room.
I'm
dude.
trying to think of all different ideas to make myself truly off-grid capable.
I'll tell you, this year we grew green peppers and zucchini, and those freaking things get big. The bushes get big,
Yeah.
the fruit gets big. Unbelievable.
Oh yeah. And with the hydroponic, they call it,
That's it. I couldn't
I
remember
forget
the
the
name.
guy's name, but you put them in downspouts. You drill 2-inch holes in the downspout, the plastic downspout, and then you fold up the ends. You heat it up and fold them up. So you put your solution inside that. Then you take pool noodles. You stick the pool noodle in there and stick your plant through the hole. And then it grows. No electric or anything. You know, you got to have your
So
lights.
the plant can absorb all those PCBs and hydrocarbons out of the pool
Yep.
noodle, and
Yep.
yeah,
And it gets the what do you call it, the air, what do you call it, I don't know what you call it. Like the water drops
it
down,
needs to grow.
so the roots are out of the water a little bit before it hits the plant, and that's where the oxygen hits that part. And
Oh.
now on the regular hydroponic, you have a pump pumping oxygen into the water. So
Yeah.
this here is doing it organically. It's
Huh.
pretty slick. Every time Terry
Yep.
calls me, I'm down in the garden,
He's in the garden.
down in the basement.
Nice.
Yep. Every time Terry calls me, he's going to pick up Starbucks.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's one of his sponsors.
Look, here you go.
Not yet.
Working on it.
So here is you see the downspouts?
Yeah, nice. Oh, I see. They're inverted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you fold up the ends of them so it holds the water. Then you drill a 2-inch hole, and the pool noodle is 2 inches. You get it from the Dollar Tree for $1.25. You can cut you can cut 2-inch.
The Dollar Tree ain't $1 anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's pretty slick, man. Now you can grow your microgreens and then you transplant them into your downspouts. And that's when you grow the head. Or you can go with the mini greens and just grow the mini greens and cut them and do whatever. It's pretty slick. I'm getting learnt.
You're getting
Yeah.
learned.
Yep.
So you teach me about greenhousing on the go, and I'll teach you about survivability and radio and
Ham.
You know,
yeah, that'll work.
fire team
I'm
stuff.
going to get
you
my
know.
license because I'm trying to be like you said, self-efficient. You know, I mean, I want to be able to talk to my son in Stowe if I can.
Yep. Oh yeah,
Your
there's
son
ways.
is in Stowe.
Yeah.
That's where Maco's headquarters is.
Oh, is it?
There's nothing in Stowe.
This
The
is
last time I
Stowe-
was in Stowe, there was a cornfield, and that was about it. And
Oh no,
in Vermont.
it's grown up now.
and then they were excited that what was that restaurant? A
Waffle House.
Bennigan's was coming. They were excited. That was like
I never even heard of Bennigan's.
Oh yeah, we have them out here. Yeah,
when I think it was a
we
Bennigan's,
had them out here.
but
I don't think it was Bennigan's.
This
Like
was
TGI
like I
Friday.
said 20 some years ago. I went
Oh.
to Stowe, And
Oh, it's
man,
growing
that
up.
dude, I'm telling you, I went for training, and they were like, I was like, "What can we do?" And they said, "Oh, you got to drive about 20 miles that way."
Oh yeah, you're good now. It's grown up.
Oh,
I didn't know you
okay.
were there.
Yep. That's
Hey,
where our
next time you come out
headquarters
to headquarters, you should swing down to Youngstown and hang out for
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah, it's
Yep,
about
and then
You have to check all
45
your
minutes.
dirty bird gear at the door, though.
And I guess it's not. I know that the classes. This is before they did this after me, or 2 years after me. The classes then went to Jamestown, New York, for the toolbox plant. That's where the toolbox plant is.
Right.
So I don't know how
Yeah,
far that.
I have a
is
friend that
from
lives
you.
in Jamestown. Jamestown's
Yeah.
hour and a half.
Yeah, there's
up there
nothing
right by
to do in
Lake Chautauqua.
Jamestown except drink. That's an
Yeah,
industrial
we're
place.
fish.
Yeah, and it's an industrial. They're looking for people at the toolbox plant real bad because everybody's retired, and there's, of course, that's a older community.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole Chautauqua County area there in New York is all old people and trailer trash.
Well, they.
Some of the
I mean,
trailers
we
are
had
nice.
I should move there. Get a good deal.
we had something like I think 45 people or something like that all retired. They had been with the toolbox plant for 40 years or whatever.
Wow.
And we had a whole bunch of people just retire. That's been one of our big problems, is trying to get people back into that business. Those robots don't work on their own.
Yeah, somebody got
Yeah,
to push the button.
stealing those icon guys.
Did you see I forget what year it was, but like 3,000 Ford Mustangs went down the assembly line with a robot missing like 4 welds in a structural area of the car.
Wow,
Wow.
really?
It was like 2017 or 2018. A whole bunch
Yeah.
of pictures were circulating online and no one caught it till after like paint.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. So some
Big money to
QC
take.
guy was asleep on his shift or something.
Yeah.
Or like the GM guys up here, they'd be out in the car half the night, sleeping and drinking, and
Yeah. I heard some crazy stories about factory workers, UAW guys.
yeah.
And the general consensus was if the job gives you 97 seconds to do the job, you do it in 96 seconds.
Yeah.
Because if you can do it in 86 seconds, they're going to find some way to cut that 10 seconds off you.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
make it 76 seconds.
Yep.
Terry, I dug out my bumper and I'm trying to figure out a way to box it up to send it out to Randy.
Oh, I was going to ask about that.
Yep, I'm
Yeah, I was
halfway
going to
out.
ask you about that.
I have it out. I got it in the garage, and I just got to. It's been raining out, so I can't. I want to do it outside because it's big, and you can't put cardboard on a wet driveway. It's not going to work. So, yeah, I got to
You
just
should just send it to him just as it is. Just don't even have to wrap it up.
just put a label
Slap
on
the
it.
label on it.
Just slap a label on it. Yeah.
That's how they send tires.
Yeah.
Well, this has some flaking chrome and all, and somebody will say, "Oh, I got a sliver under my fingernail."
Yeah. Put a fragile sticker on it.
Yeah,
They'll be
Yeah.
sure to throw it around that way.
Or maybe
Just-
you know what you can do? You get some of that. You can get some of that plastic from like I don't know, Staples or something like that, and just wrap around it real quick.
that's what I was thinking. Yeah,
Yeah, just ship it out.
Go to Home Depot in
Yeah.
the like floor protection area. You can
Right.
get those carpet runners that are tacky and they stick down.
uh-huh.
That's what I use. I use that on the fenders of my cars here. When I pull them in, I make sure the fender's real clean, and I put that sticky back plastic down under my fender cover. That way, I'm not scratching the paint.
Ah.
I was trying to pull a Ray. I thought I had some of that plastic right here behind me, but I don't.
Oh, huh? All right.
Yeah.
Ray,
I
you're
do
still
in
the
the shop.
king.
No. His title's in jeopardy because he didn't pull out a whole Brussels sprouts plant.
No, that
He
I
didn't
don't
even
have.
pull out an almanac or a farming,
Well,
catalog.
That's
or
not
anything.
automotive.
No.
Wow.
I had a picture of it.
He had a picture,
Yeah,
so
wait.
yeah, he redeemed himself.
How many guys have pictures of that on their phone?
Did you
I
see
never
that?
saw
Ray?
that.
Did you see that?
Yeah,
The recreation. Why would anybody paint that thing yellow?
I don't know. That's hokey. My doctor says it to me. He says, he goes, why do guys always have pictures of just food and cars on their phones? I was like, well, because we get pictures of girls and our wives get mad. You know, so we gotta have
Yeah.
food and cars. I got drums.
So
a
that
lot of drums.
that looks similar to a Pontiac GTO seat cover, but not quite.
No. Nah, oh, it's a bed. Okay. Whoa, very sweet.
That's very nice.
Nice.
It's a
I
Lewis
can't
Lee
show
original.
Tyler nothing. Wait a minute. Oh, here's the interior. So one side has a holster.
Oh,
the other
very
side
good.
has the
Nice.
zipper in the pocket.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, we still need to revisit my wallet and trade out the magnet thingy for a clip.
Okay.
Because right now I kind of just use it like a manila folder to hold my bills and junk in.
Yeah. Yeah, I got
So it sits in my pocket, and I just do,
Yeah.
this.
Mm.
Because the magnets is a great idea until you get like,
Money in it.
$3 in there, and
Yeah.
then it won't go through. So
Yeah, we'll do a clip.
plus I think it's killing my cards.
Ah,
It might be.
I have mine in RF envelopes,
Yeah, it
Yeah.
might be.
RF block envelopes. Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, it's time for me to head on off. 5:30 comes early.
Yeah, I got to jump ship
Okay.
too.
It comes the same time every day.
It
Yeah.
does.
But sometimes I work remote, so it doesn't really
Yeah.
show up. Yeah, it shows up a little
Hey,
later.
are you working in the office tomorrow or no?
Yeah.
I was gonna
you-
call you in the middle of the day,
No, go for it.
bug you. All right, I'm seeing your buddy at Summit tomorrow.
Cool.
Mhm. I gotta
Hey,
I gotta
don't
take it.
get-
Oh,
don't-
hold on,
calm
before you
down,
leave.
Perry. Deep breath. It's okay.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that Pontiac video. I want to see that.
No, we got to start it. We got to start
Those
it.
windshield wipers.
But I
were-
did.
were
Well,
cool.
first, what I did was I got it started, and I had from off the mechanical fuel pump going to a jug to get all the gas out of there.
Yeah, yeah.
And I had another one full of fresh gas going right to electric. So
All right.
as it was running, it would pump the old gas out, and I put more in,
Nice.
pump it out until it was clear.
Nice.
And then I hooked it up, and then I was like, "Oh, it's running. Okay, cool."
Right. That's
You
good.
know, so it
Well,
worked out good.
Tyler,
looks
pull
like
it back up. I don't think he's seen it.
That looks like the piston and rod I have in my engine in my Pontiac. That's exactly like the pistons and rods I have in my Pontiac, in fact.
Oh, that's
from Summit.
okay. That's a. Is that a 408 or is that a 402?
408.
408. Oh,
This is number 3 out of my motor.
Nice.
So
Oh,
I'm taking
that's
it to
right. They said
Summit
that they
because
wanted you to. They said that they wanted to see what yours looked like with 30,000. Okay. Are you just bringing
Yeah,
that
'cause,
down? And bringing all 8.
I asked him if he wanted all 8. He said 1's fine. So basically, when me and Terry and Lewis were at SEMA, we were able to sit down with a couple of guys from Summit, and I was just running my mouth, and I was talking about my G8, and I said, I got the Pro LS rotating assembly in it, and it's been north of 900 wheel horsepower for 30,000 plus miles, and the guy I was sitting across from the table, he goes, "Really?" He was like speechless. And here, come to find out, he's the manager for the Pro LS parts line, and he was he's like, that's like 4 times the amount of miles of anyone else I know running the rotating assembly. So, and then I told him I was tearing the motor down for a couple things this winter, and he said he would start frothing at the mouth, saying, "Hey, you should bring me those parts so I can see what kind of wear and tear there is on them." So
He's a
that's what I'm doing
smart guy.
tomorrow. Yeah, he's really cool.
Really smart. Yeah.
Yep. Well, guys, I'm jumping ship too. And
All right, Lewis. We'll talk about more
And then-
diesel and gas next week.
yeah, diesel and gas.
So
All
next
right,
week
folks.
is the Raising the Roof recap.
Oh yeah. Actually, Sunday I should do a special get together on Sunday.
Oh yeah,
If that's the date. Or if not, we'll do it Thursday. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
yeah, whatever. Or we can record something, canned for whenever.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll be at AAA Sunday. So yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you ever
where you
text
go-
me back about breakfast?
yeah. Where you going?
Landmark
Never-
over on
Meridian.
Meridian, right by my house. Yeah.
Okay. 8:00.
Yep.
All right. I'll be there at 8:30.
All right, gentlemen.
Sweet.
Sky, give me
All
a
right.
call. Talk to
Later.
you guys later.
Have a good night, Terry.
Okay, everyone.
So long, guys. All right. So, Brian, what do you think about that? I got addicted to that torque test channel now. He's doing all the torque test stuff on the
Dude,
gun.
that guy is awesome.
He was just doing the Snap-on versus the Matco, and
Oh boy.
yeah. And I just saw another one tonight. My favorite Snap-on gun. I don't have it. My buddy at the shop does. A little 3/8. I think it's a 761. They came out with the brushless model now, and he ran some tests on that with the battery that's impossible to get out. I hate those freaking batteries. But no, he does some other brands on there that get some really good results. Some off-brand tools, but
Yeah.
very impressive. And you know what I saw,
Listen, one
Brian?
of the craziest things is all the stuff that is like Chinese based, they don't give a damn about our copyrights hardly at all.
No, not at all.
So that you can get like anything, Matco made or Snap-on made that has parts in it from China.
Oh,
They'll just copy that crap and chuck it in their own brand,
Oh, yeah.
without
It's a
any
huge, it's a
qualms
big
at all.
problem that we have. It's
Right.
a huge problem.
It's not just
Yep.
you guys though. I mean, MSD went through that. There's a lot of manufacturers. K&N. I had a bogus K&N filter. I think I told you a story. I had the guy from
Aeromotive.
K&N on the show, and we determined it. He goes, I think you got. He goes, can you send me that filter? I said, I sent him pictures of it, and he says, can you send me the filter? I said, yeah, I can. And I bought it at, I think Pep Boys. And it was boxed. I didn't have the box anymore, but
And it was a knockoff.
and it was because it started coming to. I had it for maybe 4 or 5 years, and I wash it, but I follow the instructions. I use the K&N cleaner, and I don't use high pressure water. I use just the open hose, and I dry it correctly and then lube it. And it was starting to come apart at the end. There was like a little fraying. He goes, no, our filters don't do that. So I sent it to him, and he sent me a brand new K&N filter for the car, which was kind of cool because they didn't even sell me the filter in the first place. It was a store that sold it. So
I think I have a knockoff one. That, I think I have one because mine was the rubber, like how the rubber's raised up from like where the filter part is bonded to that rubber, and then you put the air filter on.
Right.
Mine was like I have one. I don't know. I could probably find it if I look for it, but it's like disintegrating.
Yeah.
It doesn't. And that was same thing. I think I bought it at Pep Boys, or I think it was by Vance Auto. But I'm pretty sure that I was really surprised because I have another one. I have another one of the K&N filters, and I've had it forever, and it's never.
No, I have other ones that are fine that are older than that, but
yeah.
So the cool thing was the other thing I watched was he did on that torque test channel, he did line wrenches, and he had the old Craftsman raised panel wrench, he had the new Craftsman Chinese wrench, and he had a Snap-on, he had a Matco, he had a gear wrench, he had a Quinn, and then he had, I think it was a gear wrench. He called it a ratcheting line wrench, but it wasn't a true ratcheting style. It had a flex
It had
head,
that little
and it was
ball
kind of just
detent thing.
opens up. It like detents. That didn't no torque at all. But the other tool he used was a pair of vice grips that had special jaws that would grab. And I said, "Wow, that looks like a really cool tool. That vice grip, for breaking loose, especially initially breaking loose a."
Was that the one with the horseshoe in it?
Kind of, yeah. Well, it had like a one jaw had like a pointed, cutout for like the points of a bolt, and the bottom was kind of, I guess it wouldn't have been rounded, but it was made to fit over a hex head of something. So you could have used it on a bolt or a nut. You didn't have to use it on a line fitting. But I want to find a pair of those because that looks like just a good tool to have in the arsenal.
Dude,
Well,
Vice,
those are
Vice Grip makes some really cool
discontinued.
stuff.
Who does, Tyler?
Vice Grip.
Vice, yeah.
They're discontinued. There is no more Vice Grip. Vice
No,
Grip
I
is
know.
no more.
They went
Is it?
Chinese.
The Vice Grip was bought out by Stanley Tools, and they're no longer. They're no
I tell you, I
longer.
have
They bought out all of Irwin, or they just
Yes.
bought the Vice Grip
Yes.
brand?
Yes, they bought out all Irwin and everything. They don't. There's no more. There's no more taps and dies. All that stuff is all Stanley now.
Yeah.
All
Nah.
Chinese.
The good thing is I have so many good old original pair of vice grips from just the years of having them. I have enough to last my lifetime. So
vice
Yeah, my
grip-
problem is I push my tools kind of hard sometimes, and the teeth in the jaws get worn down.
right, yeah. I have a couple that are like that too. The oldest ones are like that.
So Vice
Yeah.
Grip Garage is going to have to change their name now.
Yeah,
They're going to have to change.
Yeah, they're
it
gonna be
to-
Stanley Garage.
right.
I was going to say Chen Yang
Yeah,
Garage.
Chunyang Garage.
Chen Yang Garage. Ling Ling.
Ling Ling, yeah.
Or we could do what are some of the American sounding Chinese tire companies? Double Coin. There you
I've
go.
seen those.
Yeah. Off brand semi truck tires.
Okay.
Yeah, double coin. Yeah.
Yep.
So Brian, I took
That's
the
what Brian runs on his tool truck.
I drove the FJ down to the Interstate store the other day and said, "Hey, listen, dude, I think I got another bad cell in this battery."
Really?
Yeah, but
Interstates are junk these days.
so I brought it in, and he opens it. He goes, "Yeah, it's discharged." I said, "I'll tell you something. My alternator works just fine. It's the truck charges. It's not discharging." So he gave me another battery. I put it in, cranked over beautiful, and it was good to go. But now I have to revisit the problem of I started looking for a good battery diagnostic tester. Because everybody at the shop has one. It would even spit out a little receipt. But you could check cold cranking amps and you could check load and all of that, and some of them have capacitors.
The problem is none of them are resistive anymore. They don't have actual carbon piles in them
No,
to
they go by
generate a
capacitance.
real load.
Yeah, they go by capacitance, the capacitance testing.
Yeah.
But I'm just looking, to see, like cell health and all that, because those things really give you a lot of stuff. The problem is I started looking around Christmas. I'm looking on Amazon. There's so damn many of them on the market, and they're all offshore brand. And I'm like,
They all are.
so I didn't buy anything because I got more confused. I'm like, I can't decide which is better or worse than what. And I figured I'd ask you guys if you had any recommendations.
I usually get most of my stuff through. Well, here it's called O'Reilly. It used to be Checkers. I don't know. Do you guys got O'Reilly up there?
Yeah.
I don't.
I think they're
don't
national.
either, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're whatever they're called up there. Kragen, Shucks.
They started playing O'Reilly commercials here years ago, and someone told me if you start seeing commercials in your area, you'll see them like a year in advance before a store comes in. And they've been playing O'Reilly commercials here for freaking 4 or 5 years, and we still don't have an O'Reilly's.
What's your zip code, Gray?
11566.
But yeah, the our batteries, we usually get 2 years with our environment out here. But I think the last battery I bought just passed a year and it's starting to struggle.
Yeah, I mean, I'm buying
So-
either 3 or 5 year batteries, and these Interstates just aren't lasting. And the last 3 that I did in the same truck had bad cells. So, and I'm buying Megatron.
Yeah, you're on Long Island, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there's nothing out there.
No, nothing. Zero. We got the commercials though.
Well, that's something.
Yeah, that's something. Yeah, I get to see I get to see that cool little it's Rock Order with the band. Yeah, they got good commercials. And looks
Yeah.
like a good
No, they got
store.
that catchy jingle too.
Yeah. Well, that's half the battle. You got to have a good jingle.
That's right.
I don't know
Was it,
when I think about part store jingles, all I can think of is the Rock Auto.
Right.
Because they play it on so many things.
Right. Rock Auto.
Well, all around here, it's the O'Reilly's one gets a lot of playtime.
Yeah.
We get them here too, but I guess when I'm watching Motor Trend Channel, it's always a lot of Rock Auto.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Rock Auto spends a lot of time marketing.
I bought a radiator for one of my cars through Rock Auto, and they sent it in a huge box, just not big enough to box my bumper in, but it was way bigger than the radiator was. I don't know how they package. I bought it. I had to buy the turbo oil feed line for my wife's Cruise, so it's maybe 6 inches long. It's got a little bend in it, 2 ends. And the freaking thing came in a box that you could put. I could have put like 6 or 8 hero sandwiches in this box. That's how big it was. And just for this one little oil line and all that that air, those air pillow packings, like they could have thrown this in an envelope. It's like I don't know how they figure how to mail shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Superstar's the brand they use with O'Reilly.
Superstar. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was talking to Tori, and he was telling me that I think it's Advance Auto sells. I forget what the brand is. It's a good brand of battery. I was thinking about switching over. Die Hard, yeah, man. Die Hard was king. Those were the days.
Yeah. Someone just posted something the other day on my Facebook feed. He said something about there was like a head-to-head comparison between Die Hard. I think it was Die Hard and Interstate, and whatever wasn't Interstate won every category.
Yeah.
I think it was Die Hard.
Yeah. I wouldn't even know where you get those now. I mean, no.
Do you guys have Pep Boys out there too?
Our Pep Boys closed down just the service bay is open for doing service. The store closed.
That might be right. I think that the actual parts store might not be open anymore.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, I'd have
that could be the same way here.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
Pep Boys.
Pep Boys.
Yeah.
Or as
Pep
I call
Boys.
we call them Perp Boys up here.
Yep, Pep Boys. The same one with that you can't go into the store anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
The service.
I wish Harbor Freight would rebrand themselves here in the States like they're branded in Canada. Princess Auto.
It's who?
Princess Auto.
Princess Auto. Oh, wow. I tell you, on that Torque Test channel, the Bauer stuff, that was getting pulling some good numbers. The Bauer.
Yeah, the all of the pneumatic and power tools that I've gotten from Harbor Freight over the last 10 or so years, they've all performed well. They've been durable. That I haven't had any issues with them. What I've found is they're like 3 or 4 years behind in compactness.
Oh yeah.
So your name brand, leading name brand stuff is going to be packaged tighter,
right?
Less bulky.
Now he even pulled out a he was doing the stubby impacts. So he had the Milwaukee. I have the 3/8 Milwaukee, which I like a lot. But he did the Snap-on. He did a Matco, which was the favorite, and then he had a Craftsman. I said, what? I didn't know they made that. And the Craftsman got really high marks. Did really well.
Interesting.
So, yeah, that channel's got a ton of stuff. Now I'm going to catch up because he does it. Like I said, I'm watching the wrench testing, and he's doing a little bit of everything on there.
Yeah, I like how I think that was the channel that was doing the LS head bolt testing, all kinds of different manufacturers of higher strength head studs and all that stuff, and he did brand new factory bolts and pre-stretched old factory bolts and all this stuff, and it's very compelling results. It's like I love seeing real world tests,
right,
in general.
Yes.
And my interest in that really started back in like 2014 when I started watching this channel on YouTube called AVE. I think
I follow him all the time.
We've talked about him before on here. He kind of revolutionized the whole like tool review thing.
Well, he was the first guy I saw take a brand new tool, throw it on, cut it open with a saw, and then just disassemble the tool. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, the first review I ever saw him do was either Fine or Festool, like a $1,200 track saw for carpentry stuff, and here he's 2 minutes into the video and he's got it torn apart and he's like sticking a soldering iron in it to see at what temperature the plastic melts and all this stuff, and I was like, this is so cool.
I always wondered how much of that stuff goes back together, if it does. Does he put it back?
Some of the tests, some of the tests he tries to put it back together and run it.
Yeah, I have seen it in the past where he put something together and then ran it. But he's a wild man. He's a wild man.
He's a crazy guy.
The one I watched is Project Farm, I think it's called.
Yeah, I have a big problem with that guy's voice. I mean, because it's that high pitched and he talks fast, and it's like water torture to me. It's like stop.
Now we all know
So if
we got to
you,
talk low and slow.
Low and slow.
Hey, Ray.
Yeah. The one of the channels that I enjoy a lot of is a channel called ClickSpring, where you should look it up. He's got a lot of really good videos. The first video series he did, he just sprung out of the ground and started making this really elaborate clock out of basically brass and steel from scratch. And it's amazing. Like you'll see him, he's working on this part, here. So he's working on this part and he's got it like this in the camera, and he's like, oh, we're going to cut these teeth and blah, blah. And then you realize the pointer he's using isn't even usually the end of his finger. It's usually the end of a ballpoint pen. And he's got all these parts are really small. He's got a micro lathe and all this stuff. So it's amazing the level of detail and his production values on his videos are astronomical.
Oh, that's cool. Cool.
He's definitely worth checking out. He has a whole I forget what the name of the project. It's a clock. It's his first project. Okay. It's got like over 1,000 hours of video in the like master cut time lapse thing that he did at the end. But it took him like 2 years to build this thing.
Wow. And
then he started making I don't know if you've ever heard of the Antikythera mechanism.
I've heard of that, yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to make a working replica of it from Blue Point. It is a very ambitious project. Wow. And he's like 4 years into that, and it's not even halfway done.
Jeez.
What's his channel called?
But yeah. ClickSpring, all one word.
ClickSpring. I looked up QuickSpring and I pulled it up on my
phone.
No.
Yeah, click as in like,
I got you. I'm finding stuff for guns.
ClickSpring is the part in the clock that resets the tick, right? Mm-hmm. So you got tick tock. Well, the ClickSpring is what resets that mechanism.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Brian, any thoughts on a battery tester? Are you thinking about that?
If you're looking at them, I would go with Motronic.
Motronic.
Anything Motronic. They're the ones that make it for everybody.
I've
All the factory stuff is.
Is that the same company that makes like the Intelligenics or whatever battery tester?
Yep.
Yeah. That's what we used to use at the truck shop.
The Motronic stuff, you can get rough price range. If you want one that prints out, you're looking about $400.
Does have to print. Yeah, I need it really more for my own.
800 to print. But that big thing that Interstate has, that tester that they have, that's Motronic. That's all. Yeah. They make it for all the factory stuff.
I was looking at the smaller handheld stuff.
I've got some smaller. I mean, it's okay.
Yeah.
But the biggest problem that I don't want to say that. Most people want to print something out.
Well, yeah, for a customer, that's preferred. Sure, you can show them.
They want it's all show and tell and seeing eye dog and smoke and mirrors and whatever, but they need it to print. So on average, you're looking at between $800 to $1,000 to $1,200.
Yeah, I don't need to go that high.
And anything that's not complicated, as in simple to use, is about $400.
Okay,
that was a very polite way to put that, Brian.
Yeah, that was very good.
What do you mean?
It was a very polite way to word that.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I mean, like I said, I can sell you a $200 scan. I mean, a $200 tester, and you'll be like, "What the?" Because it's they're using
not user friendly.
Yeah, it's just not. You hook it up, and you gotta click 3 buttons to get the one, to use one light or or one scale. You know what I'm saying? Or you got to click it again. It's not. It's more time consuming involved. I have a cheapie that I use. The only reason why I have it is I sold it to the guy, and the next week the guy's like, "Dude, what the f is this?" And I said, "Well, that's the $200 one versus the $400 one."
Yeah.
Right.
But
never costs much more to go first class.
Yeah, well,
it usually costs at least double.
Yeah, well, like I said,
right. But listen, that can pay off.
Oh, definitely, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
And actually, I don't know. I don't know if I ever sold it. I have one. I thought I had one that was. I made a mistake, and it was It doesn't have a printer. I have to look on the truck tomorrow because.
All right, so look at this.
The ballpark. The radio.
It's the whole, it's the product line from probably 1986.
Yeah, look at that.
So you want to know what's interesting? The G8 comes with a Blaupunk sound system in it.
Yeah.
Well, I found my book from the Aspen.
Oh yeah, look at that.
And I also had the 4-channel power amp with it, and the equalizer.
Wow.
So I put this in my first Fiat.
That's the one that had the funny grid. The equalizer had like the front of it had the.
No, it was all straight.
Oh, it was all straight. It didn't have the crazy lines going all over with the.
There was some other lines, yeah.
Yeah.
I also found the schematic for what the hell is this for? CR1451. I found the schematic. Oh, there it is. It's for for the 4-channel power amp. It's got the board layout and the schematic on the other side with the official Blaupunk service stuff.
Where are they based out of? Are they German or?
Yeah.
Yeah, but on this here, there is an address on here. Robert Bosch Corporation. The sales group was out of Broadview, Illinois. And there was another one. The Bosch Group was out of Mississauga, Ontario. So I had an American and a Canadian.
Yeah.
Yeah, imported by Canada and Illinois, yeah.
So it's interesting because the only vehicle I've ever seen with the factory Blaupunk stuff is the G8s and the other Australian-built cars.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that they had that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had.
Is your G8? Is that a manual or automatic?
No, mine's automatic. They made them in 2008 and 2009, and they were gonna sell them for the 2010 model year, but 09 was the last model year for Pontiac branded vehicles. So in 2010 model year, they were going to introduce a GXP package where you could, order a manual. Well, when it came down the pipeline that they were going to not have Pontiac in 2010, all those got retitled to be 2009 model year and sold off. So of the 1,200 and some GXPs that came to the U.S., only about half of those are manual. So from the factory manual G8s, there's only 650-ish of them.
I'd love to get my hands on a G8. Especially with the manual, or have a manual swapped in.
Yeah, the swaps are pretty easy to do. Everything fits from the 5th gen Camaro, so you can get you have to do some tomfoolery with the clutch pedal itself, but other than that, everything else is pretty much drop in. The one buddy of mine here in Ohio, he's done a couple of those swaps. They're not bad. I really enjoy the 6L80 transmission I have paddle shifters added to mine, and that makes it really enjoyable to drive. So I don't really miss a manual transmission. I got a couple manual cars, and I don't know. The Chevy SS you can get in the manual. There's a lot of those in manual, which is the next generation.
Yeah. I didn't know they offered those in manual. I thought they were just going to go
not in
auto with
2014. The first model year they sold here, there was no manual option. Those are all automatic. The 15 to 17, you could get manual in those.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a car I really like. I really like the layout, the setup. I mean, going back to watching Top Gear and watching, the Holdens and then the Vauxhalls, and I'm like, oh, that's the car. BMW.
No, it's funny
with American motor.
Yeah, so when the Holden VZ platform, so that's the Monaro, Commodore, Statesman, that came to North America as the GTO platform in 2004, 2005, 2006. That platform is terrible. Suspension-wise, it's awful. If you, I tell people this all the time, if you put it on a lift and you look underneath, it looks like a vehicle that 2 or 3 weeks before production, some engineer got a memo that says, oh, by the way, this is rear-wheel drive. The rear suspension is awful. You have the lower control arm sets your not caster, camber. Sets your camber angle, right? So if you lower the vehicle, you have to have negative camber. That's how it is. That you have to have that. It looks like the lower control arm on older front-wheel drive vehicles. It's just absolutely nasty. So Holden recognized that was a weakness in the platform because there's a lot of big gearheads in Australia. And when they revised the platform in, I want to say 07 was the first year of the VE platform, they hired one of the BMW engineers who was in charge of the M Series program, and the entire underside of the vehicle basically looks like a GM version of a BMW now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it's got the uneven, 4-link independent front. It's got the 4-link independent rear. It's really a gorgeous car. It was designed to compete with the M5 series. They handle great from the factory. You put a little bit more aggressive suspension on them. They handle amazing for being a 4,000-pound car. To put it in perspective, my car on factory suspension, 19-inch wheels. I took it to an autocross in 2016, and unadjusted times, no handicaps. I was like 42nd out of over 80 cars. So I ran middle of the pack my first time at an autocross. My car was like 800 pounds heavier than the next lightest car, and I was like one of 4 rookies. So they handle amazingly well for what they are. And they're 50-50 weight balance too from the factory. So and every time someone says, oh, I've never heard of a G8 before, I say, well, just picture like everything you would think a 4-door Corvette would be, and that's what this is.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish Ford would also bring in the Australian what is it, the Falcon?
The Falcon, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool platform too.
Australia gets all those cool cars, those cool American
Well, not
cars.
anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, now that Holden's closed, Australia doesn't have any domestically produced vehicles anymore.
Oh.
All the new vehicles in Australia are all imports.
Where do they import from typically?
Well, the Holden brand, I believe, still exists, but it's all North American and Chinese-made Buick stuff now.
Oh, so they're taking our stuff. Okay.
Yeah,
they're taking ours.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's interesting. We kind of North American GM used the Holden engineers to design the Zeta platform, which was based off of the VE Commodore, which turned into the 5th gen Camaro, and then led to some other platforms. I think the 3rd generation CTSV, I think, is based on the Zeta platform, I want to say. And then, of course, 6th gen Camaro is a evolution of that same Zeta platform and all that. And it was really a quantum leap for independent rear GM vehicles. But we never got the all-wheel drive stuff. So that's unfortunate.
Yeah, they always hold back on the good stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's like in one of my favorite stories that a lot of people don't know. In 1996, GM had a prototype vehicle called the GPX 300.
Mhm.
It was I think they made I want to say they made 3 of them. It was the 97 to 03 body style Grand Prix. They handmade it a year early. It had wider fender flares. It was a more aggressive interior. It had 4 captain's chairs inside instead of a bench in the back.
Oh, wow.
It was done up really cool. And it was still front wheel drive, and it had the 3800 in it, but it was factory intercooled. It was going to be 300 crank horsepower, and it never came to market in 97 because in 97, 300 horsepower in a Grand Prix would have made it faster than a Corvette.
Yeah. Chevy's always had that rule where nothing can beat the Corvette.
Yeah.
Well, even
So
with
we
the-
got the supercharged motor without the intercooler, and it was only rated at 240 crank horsepower.
Right.
even the Fiero, I mean, from the get-go of making the Fiero, the idea was good, but what GM allowed them to work with just pretty much tanked the car. And then by the late 80s, early 90s, the third generation, or what was supposed to be the third generation, they were finally going to be able to really take off, and GM axed it. I mean,
yeah, right at the end when that car was just hitting its stride, that was when it was canceled. But I tell you, if you ever had to work on one, and I did, they were not easy to work on the engines. They were so tight in that little suitcase back there.
Every time I work on one, I just drop the whole cradle in the back.
That's the way to do it.
That's what I was going to say.
One of those designers for the Fiero lived over by my parents.
Really?
And he had a whole bunch of prototype stuff and body panel stuff.
Oh, cool.
And he had all kinds of crazy stuff in his garage.
Yeah.
And
I've done a couple 3800 swaps on them, taking the
nice.
supercharged 3800 and dropping in there. That makes a fun little rocket.
You put them in the front, right?
Yeah.
In the rear?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've
you
seen
leave
some-
it rear wheel drive.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen some videos where I've seen videos where they swapped in the North Star. I've seen videos where they swap in the 3800. I think from what I've seen, in my opinion, because I've seen where they use the Impala SS LS motor.
LS4.
Yeah. But I
That's a
think,
tight fit.
yeah, I think the 3800 is probably the best swap as far as ease and workability.
Cost.
Yeah, cost. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a torquey motor, and the Fiero puts so much of the weight over the rear wheels. It's designed for acceleration.
How much tire can you put on that car?
Pretty decent. The last one I swapped, I think we had a 275 rear tire under it.
Wow. That's impressive. I didn't know it go that big.
I never weighed the car. I should have weighed it before the customer came and got it. I was really curious. But those 3800s are not light motors because they're all cast iron heads and all that.
Yeah.
But they're torquey, very torquey.
Yeah, it's a good motor. I like that platform.
Yep. Super reliable too. The couple problems they have are well documented, easy to fix.
Right.
So that's where I got my start. I got my start in the front wheel drive 3800 powered vehicles, and there's 15 or 16 of them out back right now.
Oh, nice.
In various stages of couple of them are like nice project vehicles. A couple of them are parts cars, and a couple of them are just whatever. So one of my long-term projects is I have in '98 they released the Daytona Pace Car Edition. They only made 1,500 of them, and it's the medium golf blue metallic paint code.
Oh wow!
And in '98, the only way to get that color was to order the pace car package. And I own 3 of them. I have number 299, number 158, and number 747.
Oh wow!
747 is my manual transmission swapped supercharged 3800 car. That's my like show car. That was my first real custom project car. 299 is going to get restored to factory original one of these days. And then 158 is a beautiful rust-free car out of Georgia. And that one is going to get a full cage, and I'm going to run some 33x16 slicks in the back, and I'm hoping to put like 2,000 horse through it and make a pro mod out of it.
Wow.
You don't see that. I've never seen a pro mod that body style before.
No.
You see the older Grand Prix because you can get a fiberglass nose, like an extended nose and everything for that body style. The like 87 to 96 or whatever, you know, with the 4 glass headlights in the front.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But I never see the 97 to 03 style. So I really want to do that.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Then I have all kinds of 3800 base projects. I got a 3800 I'm building to put in my boat. I got an 18-foot Chaparral bow rider boat. It's got an Iron Duke in it right now, but I want to yank all that out of there and put a supercharged 3800 in there because the idea of a blower motor on a little boat, especially with an intercooler that you can feed with lake water all the time, just sounds great to me.
Yeah.
And then I got an all-wheel drive Aztec out there that I want a 3800 swap, and then I have a 2000 or 2001 Pontiac Montana minivan.
Yeah.
Guess what that's gonna get?
There you go.
Yeah. So I got all kinds of projects. If I could ever get a sponsor to help me build these projects, shoot,
that'd be cool.
I'd have 8 seasons worth of content.
Yeah. That's always a big problem.
Yeah. I'm trying to get into I'm trying to get someone at Summit or one of these other parts houses, big name place, to look at making stuff for the 4.2 Atlas motor that came in the Trailblazers.
Uh-huh.
Because it is I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the Barra motor from Australia.
No.
It's I believe it's a Ford power plant. It comes in the Falcon. It comes in a couple things over there. It's an inline 6. It's the domestic 2JZ basically.
Okay.
So it's a 2JZ built by the big 3. Well, the Atlas motor is real similar. It's an inline 6. It's 4.2 liters, and the one guy I follow on YouTube, he's been a big advocate of them for like 5 or 6 years now, and he just recently found out that the Honda K24, I think, shares a very similar crank and piston geometry with the Atlas, and they're pushing those motors to like crazy power. So I think if the aftermarket could take off for this Atlas motor, because there's millions of them. I can't remember how many millions of Trailblazers they made, but
oh sure,
the vast majority of them, over 90%, have this 4.2 in them.
Right.
Is that
it gives you different packaging options. So like an LS is a V8, so it's fairly wide.
Right.
There's engine bays you can't fit it in sometimes, but this inline motor is quite a bit narrower.
Is that Australian inline that you were talking about? Is that the same one that the Lotus Carlton used? Because wasn't the Carlton based off of a Ford product?
I think so. Barra motor. Let's see.
Because the Lotus Carlton was that one. It was a 4-door sedan that in the UK, it was a big thing because the bank robbers and stuff, the hoodlums were stealing them because the cops couldn't catch them.
Sure, that wasn't a 34 Ford.
No, this is the early 90s.
John Dillinger endorsed.
See that Lincoln with the Pro Charger?
Yeah. Sweet.
120.
This
That's 140.
there's a pretty good Wikipedia article about the Barra motors. They are unique to the Australian Falcon. That's the platform they were designed for. And they came in a bunch of different flavors too, turbocharged, all kinds of craziness, up to 436 horsepower factory. It looks like. I think. Looks like.
You know what?
I know it says.
I stand corrected on the Lotus. It was General Motors Opel Vauxhall product.
Vauxhall.
It was
Vauxhall.
the Omega.
So a lot of the Vauxhall products are actually rebadged Holdens as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like the R8 is the same as a G8 and is the same as a Commodore.
Commodore Schmidlap.
They just got a little bit of a facelift.
That's
the
wiki page, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool motor. So the Richard Holdner actually calls the Atlas motor the Ameribara.
So is
He's
the
done some
American
testing on his
version?
channel.
Is the Atlas is the American version of that?
Kind of. It's the GM version of a similar engine.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's in a similar class of
210.
inline V. What's that? Oh, you're talking about the TV again?
Brian's just auction geeking.
Yeah. That's like people watching a bass fishing tournament on TV. I was like, I'd rather participate than
like golf.
watch it.
Watching
Yeah,
golf.
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually watch that stuff on the Mecum or the Barrett Jackson. If there's something that flashes on YouTube, something that it picks up and it's a certain car or whatever, I'll watch it and get the excitement out of that one car. But I can't handle sitting still watching 20 different cars I could care less about.
No,
for the
well,
one
my
car.
whole thing about my whole thing about it is it's amazing on what certain things go for.
Oh yeah,
you have
Some of the
a
prices
Buick,
are
you have a
astronomical.
Buick Grand National, which every person my age, our age group, that was a car that was like, oh my god.
Hey, stick to your own age group, buddy.
Yeah, I know. Hey, cowboy. But look, I'm just saying, you go through all that, and you're like, what, $60,000, and then some 38 pickup truck goes across, and it's $1 million, and you're like, dude, I don't
It's
understand.
all about
that.
who's in the room,
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's the auction world, man. It's all about
Like
who's
this,
in the room.
just watching. Like I said, just sitting here watching, and you're like, and then you're
I
like,
think-
well,
didn't
how can that
didn't
car
a square
go?
body didn't a square body Chevy go a couple weeks ago on one of these auctions for like $80,000 or something
I
like
think
that?
so. Yeah.
it depends. Like Ray said, it depends on who's in the room, how bad they want it, and how many of them want it.
What's kind of funny, that video I sent Terry about that 74 Pontiac, beautiful car, but it was the guy saw it on TV on an auction. I think it was on Barrett Jackson, and it didn't sell. It went up to 19,000 and didn't sell. So he contacted the seller. Now I don't know how he did that, but he said
Yeah.
he contacted the seller, and they agreed on a price between the 19,000 it was bid up to and the $26,000 reserve that he had on the car. So he paid somewhere in there. He gets it home. It was beautiful. He changes the oil, whatever, and now all of a sudden it's got a rod knock. So he thinks someone like Motor Honeyed it or something. And I was like, damn, talk about truth in advertising. Now you spent like, $20-something thousand on a 74 car, and they get a rod knock. It's like, that sucks. So he had the motor redone, and he's happy. He says, yeah, I'm going to keep this car. I love it. But how about a little righteous indignation for not disclosing, what the hell's going on there?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's like I said, it's like the time that we pulled the third member out, and there's a T-shirt inside the rear end, or
right.
We had, Henry Ford did it. with the Model Ts with the chains because of noise, they had 2 scoops of sawdust and thrown in the gearbox to mix.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Danny DeVito on the Matilda movie. He was that shady used car salesman.
Yeah.
Yeah, he put sawdust in the transmission to quiet it down.
And I mean, I'm not even going to lie. I mean, I had a buddy that had a rear end that was making noise. He crammed several bananas in there.
Really?
Yeah,
Trying to make a
because
smoothie.
he made a 90 weight smoothie.
Wow.
And this is only because we're selling the car. He was selling the car. I don't want to put. I was there, but he's
How long
like,
ago was
"We're
this? There's not gonna be somebody watching who's gonna be like,
I don't know. This was 45. I mean, this was, we were kids. I mean, this is, 45 years ago. You know what I'm saying? 40 years. I think he goes in and grabs the banana stalks. I mean, the bananas off the kitchen table, and we're peeling and cramming in the little fill hole in the rear end, So
wow. Creative
anything's
uses
possible.
for fruit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you guys were manly men cramming a banana through the glory hole. Look at
That's it, man.
that. Nice. So, Brian,
Is
I
his
had
name
a laugh
Dan?
up.
Can we call him Banana Man Dan?
Yeah. I'm coming home from food shopping yesterday. What do I hear it out of my left ear, and the windows are up in the car, but I hear an engine. It's an American engine. It's got a camshaft in it. I'm like, all right, what is that? And I turn, and there's a guy's coming up by the door, and it's this truck that's lifted up. It was a
That's a picture you sent me. That was a Jeep. It was a Cherokee.
It was raised, black rims. I could see underneath. You had the undercarriage all done, painted in black. Like it was real commando style. I'm like, wow, this is pretty. And it was the engine that I caught. I caught the exhaust note and all. It was really pretty cool. I said, oh, this is Brian's style, man. He's riding high.
Yeah. Like that 68 Bronco right there, $200,000.
Yeah.
I guarantee you it was probably LS swapped, that Jeep.
It kind of looked fairly original.
newer?
It's a younger guy driving it too. But
Older or newer?
Sounded real nice.
It was an old Jeep. It was an old Comanche.
Yeah.
I mean,
And it was primered. It was just primered gray, black wheels. It was real commando style. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. The Comanche or
I'm not sure what model it was.
it was an older because
oh wow,
Oh,
Wagoneer.
yeah, okay, yeah.
The Wagoneer, yeah.
Wagoneer.
That's
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, I would guess that
That might
was
have been a
probably
regular small
L-
block then.
You
It
think
could have
so? I
been.
think probably LS.
And it was healthy.
No, it
Depends on
could
what
have
Had
been
some motor work done.
Yeah.
what would they have in a 304 or 345?
I think a 360.
I would have talked to the guy, but he would have had to
Yeah.
leaned over,
I think they had
roll
Dodge
down the
V8s in
window,
them,
and he
didn't
would
they?
have had to look down at me while I was looking up at him, and I figured that wasn't going to work too well. So, the
That's a
Wagoneer
nice
was
looking truck.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, you usually see stuff like that out here.
Yeah, that's a big truck.
That's Dan Shore Survival.
That's what I was thinking. I
Yeah.
thought it was the Dan Short rig. There's a lot of truck. There's always been a big truck community out here where I am. There's always been. In fact, Pirate Paul started with them. He was a big.
How
Jeep
far are
guy.
you from the city, Ray?
About 45 minutes on the train. So it's about 35, 40 miles. It's not that-
So if I'm looking at Long Island, are you like in the middle? Are you like out at the end? Like
Oh, I'm not at the end. No. Long Island, it's pretty cool. If you look at like where Manhattan is and then Brooklyn and Queens, that's the the Queens boroughs. Then there's 2 counties, Nassau and Suffolk. I'm in Nassau County, and I'm pretty much in the middle of it. Like if you find Jones Beach and go up, I'm right up from Jones Beach. Not far at all. Yeah, it's I'm not way out on the East End. I'm in the thick of the suburban area, where this was the bedroom
How-
communities.
how far from Camden, New Jersey?
Okay, well, let's see. From New Jersey, that's the whole thing. When you talk about going to New Jersey, mileage-wise, it's not a lot, but to try and drive it, it could take you like 4 hours. So
Right.
Camden isn't too far.
Because I think this year, 2023, I'm gonna come out and spend like a week or two on the Battleship New Jersey, volunteering, doing some welding and stuff like that. Help them maintain it.
Cool.
So
That's neat.
while I'm out there, I want to visit some people.
Let me know when you're out. Yeah, well, I know this year I'm going to be taking some trips down to North Carolina. We're going to be checking out homestead prospects. My daughter is down there right now. In fact, her and her fiance, they had they each had job interviews, and then today they looked at like 10 houses. To find a rental. So, yeah, they're full court press.
When you say homestead, are you talking about
Moving
out in the boonies?
No. I'm actually looking at a town that is rural. It's not city. I don't want to be in the highly dense. It's funny, the county down there that I'm looking at. I was talking to someone from their visitors bureau this week, and I told the woman, I said, just to put it in perspective, I said, the town I live in is like, I don't know, 1.5 square miles or whatever. I said, the county that you're in, the population is the same for the town that I'm in. It's like 20,000 people, but yours is spread out over, I don't know how many square miles the county is. I'm in 1.5 miles square. I mean, it's just the way it is. It's just, we're densely populated. So I'm looking to go to a place that's, there's amenities, there's stores. I'm not going to be out in the middle of nowhere, but it's not like.
You said South Carolina?
North.
Oh, yeah. I've got family down in South Carolina and in Charlotte.
Where in South Carolina?
Just across the border, like Indian Lake, south of Charlotte.
Okay. Yeah, my daughter is looking in the Charlotte area. That's where they're looking.
Okay.
I'm looking in southeast of the Raleigh area.
Okay.
Southeast of Raleigh.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's more.
So I've got three cousins that live in the Charlotte area.
Yeah.
And
Charlotte's
a
a
good
little
friend
too
of mine
blue
lives
for
down there
me.
too.
It's just a little too blue for me. Sorry.
Yeah.
And I was talking to this woman,
my
I
one.
said, I was asking the lady on the phone. I like to ask candid questions, and I said, the problem I have is I look at the map of North Carolina, and it's a mosaic. There's 100 counties. I said, now I know it's a purple state, so the politics. I said, but I want to know about the politics of where I'm going, and in cost of things. And I said, so I just asked her a general question. I said, are the counties, or basically how different are the counties from one another, or how similar are they? Because I don't want to end up landing in the wrong county. And I know the one I picked already, Charlotte. I looked at the demographics. I looked at the town board. D's all the way down the list, right? I look at the town I'm looking at, it's R all the way down the list. I'm like, okay, that's good. That's what I want, But I'm asking her to kind of give me a little help, like how varied are the counties, and they're expert at sidestepping your questions. They just, we have a lot of hiking trails. Like, I don't give a shit about the hiking trails. What's the gun laws down there?
I don't care about the hiking trails. I just want to know that I'm not dealing with the big D.
Exactly.
The
the long D of the law.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
that's one of the reasons my cousin lives right across the border in South Carolina.
Yes. I have a friend. He works for the Gun Corporation. Radiator Specialties. They're in the Indian Trail, North Carolina, which is just outside of Charlotte. And he says a lot of his employees live. The ones that live in North Carolina go over the border to South Carolina to buy gas and booze and cigarettes. And the ones that live in South Carolina, because of the lower tax base, they come up to earn a little more money in North Carolina. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I've been to,
my cousin in Indian Lake there, he has a concrete company.
Okay.
So
I know they're coming from here. Like, I was talking to her and she said something about, well, you live near the city, there's traffic. I'm like, hold on. I said, first of all, you don't want to have a conversation about traffic with me. Because on your worst day, it's not what I've seen living here. I'm like, this is just
right.
I'm used to that. I said, you know, everything is relative. You know, I understand, but you know, traffic.
Yeah.
It's funny.
You're like, lady, let me tell you about traffic.
That's a joke, right? That's really a joke. You know, because the stupidest things, like when I was going to a car club meeting, it was like at a town, like 4 towns away, maybe 12 miles from here. It could take me 45 minutes to get there on, you know, to make a 7 o'clock meeting on a weekday because of all the traffic going, you know,
right.
east. I was like, yeah.
That's why I took Lewis with me when I went to get my bus, because I was like, there's no way I'm trying to navigate, you know, Camden and then down almost freaking downtown New York.
Right.
Because we cut all the way around the city to go up to Terry's.
Sure.
He's north of the city.
Yeah, because he's in Rockland. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's above me over the bridge. So, but not far, not too far. He's come down to, you know, he did the radio show. So it's doable, especially on a weekend. It's easier.
Right.
You know, but
I've been to.
Well, gentlemen,
I think I'm
going to call it a night.
It's a night.
Yeah, it is.
It is a night. I'm gonna leave before it becomes morning. How about that?
Well, it was cool having you hang with us tonight. It was good seeing you. And I'm always, like I said, I'm always amazed at what's in your head, dude. I love listening to you. You got so much going on. I applaud you.
It's a madhouse. Yeah.
I know.
Typically I put on World War II documentaries to try to fall asleep.
Yeah, I like the sounds I like the sounds of howitzers and cannons. It kind of lulls me to sleep.
Yeah. Well, podcasty type stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like the Battleship New Jersey channel, actually, that I listen to a lot of the videos they put out, because one of their mission statements is they're educators, you know?
Right.
So they have a lot of stuff because most of New Jersey's operational career was in the Pacific Theater.
Right.
So the curator of the museum, he's very knowledgeable about all the Pacific World War II stuff. So they have a lot of videos detailing different fleet actions and all the stuff that happened. So I put on a couple of those videos, and that helps me. It's interesting enough that it keeps my attention, but it's not new material for me, so it doesn't keep me awake.
Right.
So
yeah.
But I appreciate you saying that, Ray. I've always I'm not a very smart person, but I try to be intelligent.
Well, and you know, it shows because you know well, and you convey it, you get it across well, and it's, you know, I mean, we're all guilty of that. We all have this encyclopedic memory of the things we've done in our lives and the stuff we've amassed, and you know, we all put it on display. But it's always cool when you see what somebody else has that you maybe have a little bit of, and like, wow, man, this dude blows me away. Now I just want to hear what he has to say, you know, because that takes what I know to a whole nother level.
Well, I'm gonna try and be on every week this year, so we'll see. I wasn't getting the links for a while, so I think Lewis fixed that.
Good.
So
excellent.
But yeah. Oh, and then there's only 3 people watching, so I guess I can say something. Me and Terry are probably going to be doing a Tuesday night talk show of some kind.
Cool.
Coming up.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
That's neat.
So not a little bit more concise, if you will. You know?
Right. Gotcha.
Little less chaotic.
That's the feedback I hear about this soiree all the time. You guys are all over the place. Like, I know that's kind of the point of it. It's a free for all, you know?
Yeah. It's a cool environment, and there's not a lot of other shows that I see, especially in the car community, that's this free, if you will.
Right.
You know, diverse. Yeah.
Well, you know what it is.
I mean, tonight we opened the conversation talking for 5 minutes about Brussels sprouts.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
We see that's the thing. Like with the radio show, that's been our mantra for years. Like, we'll go anywhere. We'll talk about, but we got to do it in a lot quicker of a time frame. So there's a lot of stuff that I just move along or don't mention. And I always say it all depends who you're doing your show with. Because if you have guys who respect what's going on and can, you know, respect each other, you can do that. You can move in and out of subjects. You can move in and out of stuff fast. And we just proved that tonight. You know,
Yep.
A lot of guys can't do that. You know,
right.
So
I mean, I just want to show you, Ray. We got the toaster oven. You want to test your battery?
I got one of those hanging in the garage. Yeah, I got one in the
That's the
garage.
legit business there.
I mean, this is the real thing. I mean, there's no.
Yeah, you put a piece of Wonder Bread on top of it while you're
You
testing
can
your
heat
battery.
up your bagel with that while you're testing.
Exactly.
Yep,
Exactly.
for sure. I always wanted to get the grate, take the grate off of it, and get like a custom shape, like my logo or something.
Oh yeah.
Like they have those toasters that'll put like Darth Vader's face on your
Yeah.
toast.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know,
That's cool.
something
Well,
like that.
I'll show you. This was a web grab. Let me find the folder here. I had a
Yeah.
That logo on my toast. That's what I want.
yeah. There you go.
Oh yeah.
Well, you should be able to make one out of a metal rod, and then when you're doing your steaks, you just heat it up and you
Brand it.
because we sell one with the Mako logo, and
Yeah,
it was
but that
funny.
would ruin the taste of my steak.
No, it makes it a lot better. Trust me, because so the funny thing is, I thought I was being funny, and I did these we had these hamburgers, so I get it all done, and of course I kept one side, not as cooked or shown, so I heated up the branding iron and put all these Mako logos on these hamburgers and put them on buns and put them in front of everybody.
This is the one Tyler's going to use right here
That's it.
That's
Snap
it.
on the big
All right.
ass.
on your
Yeah.
burger.
But I do that, and like not one person even knows. They were so hungry, they were just like,
Yeah,
they dumped
just wolf it
they
down.
dumped everything on top. The ketchup, mustard, pickles, and everything. And I was like, didn't you guys
Yeah.
see what your burgers had on it? No, I mean, it's
Well, here I thought you were going to say that you spent all this time, branding all your burgers, and then served them as cheeseburgers. The cheese
Yeah.
right. That's something that I would do. Yeah.
actually that almost happened. But what I did was that's what everybody said. Why did he put the cheese? Because I laid the cheese on the bun and then put the burger on top. You know what
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
saying? And
Right,
and of course
right.
it sat there. It did melt, but they were all like, why is the cheese on? And I was like, didn't you notice what was on your hamburgers? And they were like, no. And I was like, never mind.
If you brand the bun, it'll stick out faster, stick out more.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. Put a little butter on there. Heat up your brand. And
Mayonnaise.
there you go.
Mayonnaise finally went
Yeah,
on
for
sale.
sure.
Two for $11 this week. But
Wow.
yeah, but I'll tell you something. Lettuce that was $4 just last week, today was $1.99 for a head of lettuce.
Listen, if you know anybody good at chemistry, we should buy up all the mayonnaise and try to get the eggs back out of it
Yeah.
and sell the eggs.
Right.
They said
all right,
they're
gentlemen.
smuggling eggs across the border down here.
I heard about that from
Oh,
Mexico.
I believe
they're
it.
smuggling
Yeah.
eggs, and the cartel, and they were selling the eggs like it was drugs, like it was like it was fat. Yeah, fucking
That's
crazy.
crazy. All right. Good night, guys.
All right, good night,
All right,
Tyler.
Take care, be safe.
We'll see it. So go from stubby impacts to battery testers to wrenches. Man, it's all that Mako. I tell you, that Mako stubby gun blew that snap on the way though. 444 foot-pounds to 386.
Actually, it's on the truck, Ray. I meant to bring it in. Remember, I told you I had one that the guy had problems with. And so I just swapped it out. I just said, instead of sending it in here, just take this and I'll send it in because it's got a 2-year warranty and it's been sitting on the truck. I should take it apart and see if that cone's rubbing. I mean,
Did you get to watch the video to see what they did when they took the gun apart? Because they did have a failure on the Mako gun, and then they hot rodded it. And I said,
no,
wow.
he said he didn't. No, they said they didn't tune. They said the failure, the problem that they had when it was dropping off was that the clearance of the rotor was rubbing on the faceplate.
They did sand it, but I thought they re-drilled the exhaust ports too.
No, that was on another gun.
Okay, but
They were talking about that's one of the improvements. That's what they were talking about with the NASCAR guns. That's what they're doing. We already have three exhaust ports.
Okay. Well, I gotta be honest with you. A lot of times I'm watching these videos, I'm doing 2 or 3 things. Like I'm doing a crossword puzzle, or I'm eating nuts, or I'm doing something. So I look up and I think I saw something for one gun and it was for the other. So
yeah,
I should pay more attention.
I do the same thing.
But that gun is those stubbies. Like I said, I have the Milwaukee battery powered stubby, and I like it. I really like that gun a lot. But it should get a 1/2 inch.
But the only thing, like I said, the only thing I don't like about that was that the Snap-on gun was a small socket, and the Matco one had the longer socket, and I still don't know why that was, or
I don't know either. Like I said, you could message them, because I know the one I watched today with the new Snap-on compact gun and a couple of the others, they all use the same shallow big socket. So he might have had a problem. I don't know. I guess he didn't address it.
I don't actually.
Well, I gotta say, with all of that, the Matco gun certainly was no slouch. So it's not like that socket slowed it down any.
See, this one now. This is an older 3/8 gun. Okay, this is an older, and remember the newer one. The housing and the front cover were bolted together.
Yeah, right.
And I think when those things get bolted down, this plate will
distort.
Will distort, and that's why it was.
Could be, yeah.
But see, it was dragging on the front of this. I mean, on the inside from this rotor.
Right.
And these are the vanes. And now, see, these were the exhaust ports. Now, this one's an older gun. It had the 2.
Yeah.
This is the 2. This one actually, this is a 2150, and it's very similar to like the Ingersoll. You know how like your gun is.
Yeah.
Just a smaller version.
Right.
This was a badass gun. And but like I said, when this was never held together. The only way this is together is with the nose cone and the body with the screws going through the back.
Yeah.
And I guess when they started getting getting more power, they had the force of air. I guess they had to keep these nose cones, all sealed. So that's when they started putting the bolts. They started bolting this together.
Yeah.
But I think when they get torqued down, because I've done this, even with these guns, if you tighten these screws down too much here and pull it down, they'll rub on this plate.
The Bronco's up to $135,000.
Yeah, I know. That's a 75 Bronco. That Bronco stuff is crazy, dude. Right now.
Yeah, 2 doors. Yeah.
So
the thing I thought was funny too is when he mentioned how the Snap-on guns like more pressure. Like they said, you got 150 at the wall, your guns are going to perform. Well, the other guns perform with less pressure.
Well, they're like I said, they're rated. Like if you read the top, it says it's rated at 9. That's what they're
90
supposed
CFM
to.
Probably, yeah.
And it's
that's
crazy.
That's a pretty standard rating for air tools.
Yeah, I mean, I have most of my shops run around 120. They'll have they'll be about 120. I have a Ford dealership. The Ford dealership, theirs is at like 150 and above. I've seen guys blow shit up.
Yeah, I gotta bring that Matco gun home one day. I have it at the shop because the thing I tried telling them to do years ago and they never did it. I did it at home. I went with the full flow 3/8 air fittings.
Yeah.
So the air fittings are huge. And I tell you, I felt the tools jump up even more just with those fittings.
Yeah.
So, and at the shop, they use the regular small neck down ones. I'm like, guy, change these things. So you got long runs. This will help improve airflow. But
what I used to do with this gun, even though this gun, the 3/8 gun, was a lot of power, but I would take the trigger valve out of a 1/2-inch gun and put in because it was bigger.
Oh, okay.
And man, these guns would, it would like really, there was a big difference.
Nice.
But I started doing that on a trigger, on a valve body, like on your gun or on the 1/2-inch guns. I started playing with a drill bit. And I got to a point because there's a step in there. There's a step. So I started drilling on it. And it got to the point where I went too big and it lost its, I think it lost the volume of the air. And I asked the guy at Expo and he said, when it lost the volume, you had more air going, but it has to, it's like a Venturi effect. You know what I'm saying? It has to speed up the, you had to speed it up now that it just kind of flow
it in there. Yeah.
Yeah. And, but I've tweaked on them. Now I haven't actually seeing that this one, I'm half tempted to drill another small hole on the, just curious on the exhaust. For exhaust. But like I said, most of the time you just put a big mouth connector. Actually, most people make that mistake because they'll put the big mouth connector, but they don't have it on the other end.
Right. It's got to be both. Yeah,
it's got to be both.
That's right.
And a lot, and like I said, a lot of guys make that same mistake. They'll have like a 3/4 gun, and they're running a 3/8 line.
Yeah.
And they're like, I thought this thing would have more power, and you're like, well,
or the guy puts on one of those the curly 1/4-inch hoses.
Oh yeah.
No, man.
Yeah. That's
small signal stuff. That's like 1/4-inch. If you want to use a 1/4-inch butterfly gun or something.
Yeah.
Like a rebuilder, for like on a rebuilding table.
Yeah, I have a transmission shop, and when he did it, he put those curly hoses all over the place.
Yeah.
I go in there, and the guy's like pounding the crap out of a bolt trying to get loose, and I'm like, dude, you need a little bigger line.
So yeah, you got like a straw instead of a garden hose here. It's like how you gonna water your lawn through a straw?
So that's like when a guy buys a 3/4 gun or a 1-inch gun, I tell him, I said, you've spent the money for this tool. I said, now unfortunately you have to spend the money for getting a 1/2-inch hose
infrastructure. Yeah.
And and actually I said, if you have the capability of not putting a connector on it, just screwing it right into the gun.
Right.
And, you just roll it up on a hose and have a single spot, where, and like I said, I don't know, that sounds like a lot of work, but they end up usually after a few times messing around, they end up, okay, we're putting in a 1/2-inch hose, and we have our own place and no connector, and they're like, man, this is a completely different gun.
Right.
And so I also like when they get one and the first hit's great, but then they have no power because they have no CFM on the backside of the compressor. So
right.
Like I said, what's the big deal with those little numbers?
I know everybody just looks at horsepower and pressure. No, you got to know what the CFM is at 90 psi. That's the standard.
Yeah.
And because you start putting like whiz wheel on there or air ratchet, man, those things eat air like crazy.
Yeah, and that's why like I'll tell somebody. They'll ask me, for about a compressor. And I said, if it's a body shop, I say, this is a great compressor. And, it might be, we'll make an easy number, it might be $5,000. And he's like, yeah, but I could buy a compressor for $1,500. And I said, yeah, but it doesn't have the CFM.
Right.
And I said, you're buying something that has 7 CFM
versus something that has 18 CFM.
He says, "What's my carburetor got to do with it?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's like, why does this compressor run all day?
Right.
And I said, because you have no CFM.
Exactly.
So, and if you could really do it, especially the guy, I'm really surprised most people don't do this, but if you're getting a new compressor because your compressor went up, you should save the tank and run another tank so you have a holding tank so that
Sure.
you're not it works great with spray booths because when a compressor turns on you don't get the boost.
Right.
So if you're spraying something metallic, you won't have a problem.
Right.
And then with the holding tank, you're basically it's very rare that your compressor is going to run all the time because you got it's only replacing what the air is in the other tank.
That's one of the things when I move out of here, I'm probably going to end up leaving my compressor behind. I'm probably going to regret it, but instead of having to move it, it'd be easier to just buy another one wherever I am. But I told my wife, I said, that's going to be the first thing I'm going to need. I said, because all I'm going to have is my little Milwaukee air thing. And I said, that ain't going to cut it when I want to use an air tool. I'm going to have to get a compressor right away.
You should try to figure out how to take you'll regret it. The new compressor. Well, I don't want to sound that way, but the new compressors are nowhere near like the old ones.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I have, it's an IR, but it's an 80-gallon tank, dual stage. It's a 2-stage compressor with, it's a monster. I've been in shops that didn't have a compressor that size, and they ran the shop on it.
Yeah,
I just use it for me. So
yeah, it's like me. I'm the same thing.
But it was funny. I had gotten a compressor from a friend, and it was I think a 30-gallon tank, and I have the pump. I should show you the pump because it's like 1920.
Wow.
Hang on a sec.
$105 for a 72 square body.
For a 72?
72 C10. 105. This is absolutely insane.
Yeah. That is.
I had repainted this, but it's.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. Oh, my God. It's awesome.
It's a 19. I dated it. It's a 1920. I don't remember what brand it is. I don't know. But, I got it from a friend. And, of course, he was a. How can I put that? How can I put it? He was just one of those guys who would jury rig anything. So instead of having like a regular ball valve for the air, he had like a kitchen faucet to shut the air off.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. A kitchen valve. I mean, he did a mishmash of everything. So, I took it all apart and I read up on how to size the pulleys correctly. Like, I had the pulley on the pump and I could calculate based on the size of the tank and the horsepower of the motor, what size pulley I needed on the motor. So I did all of that, got the right pulley and belt, and the thing ran for years. It ran fine. And then it finally gave out. I think the motor went. The pump was working. So I said, you know what? It's time to get a new compressor. Let me just go. So I went to Home Depot. And, that was when everybody was buying 30-gallon tanks. I really didn't, want something a little bigger. But I looked and I said to the guy, I said, what about that one up there? There was one compressor up on the top of the racks, and it was this big IR. And he says, oh, yeah. He goes, yeah, that's the last one we have of that. We're probably not going to restock. I said, you got a deal on that? You got a clearance price, or, make me a deal? Let me call the manager. I think we could probably do a little something. And this is back in 86 or 7. And I think I paid $1,600 for it then.
Wow. Yeah.
And I said, okay, great. Good. I said, can you deliver to my house? Yeah, the guy delivers it, brings it in a forklift. He comes all the way down the driveway, gets to the garage. I said, look, lower it down to get it into the garage and bring those forks in as far as you can. Because I was going to put it in the back corner of the garage. So he got it about a little less than halfway in the garage. I said, okay, cool. So now I'm walking it back and forth on the pallet, like dunk, 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 dunk. I think now I probably took it off the pallet. So it's on the legs, dunk, 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 just walking it to the back. And it's a bear. It was like me moving you. I'd be
Yeah.
like, grabbing you like this.
And you're saying the whole time, it didn't look that big in the store. It didn't
No.
look that big in the store.
Because it's as tall as me, And I remember saying to myself, man, if this thing goes off too far off center and it'll pin
It's
me.
crushing you, man.
And you know what? I was getting closer to the wall and moving it around, and it did come and it did trap me against the wall. I was kind of stuck for a minute. I was like, okay, hold on a minute. There was nobody, of course, nobody's home. So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, breathe, think about it. And I was able to like get my foot against the wall and maneuver it and just like push it off me. I was like, whew, man, that was close. If it was further away from me, it would have had more of an angle and I wouldn't have been able to move it. But luckily it was close enough that the angle was less. And I was like, man, that was close. That was close. So, and I've been using that thing ever since. I change the oil every couple of years. I drain the water out of it. Especially in the summer, I drain the water every, couple of weeks. And it's just a workhorse,
It's a good.
I run the bead blast tank off it and all, but yeah, I'm just thinking it's probably easier to leave it behind, like my butcher block workbenches and the metal workbenches. Probably easy to just leave all that stuff, especially if my buddy.
You'll be mad. You'll kick yourself on that.
I know, but to move it, you got to realize I don't have a crew to help me move. I'm doing it myself.
Yeah, I know. I
So
do
would
everything
you be-
myself too.
And
Would
especially
you
if
be
it's
able
my-
to get a moving company just to move those things?
Well, I'm gonna get
Again,
a
is it
moving
just
company
road
probably to move the
outrageous?
contents, but listen, I got 7 cars have to be moved, motorcycles, engines, and like, oh god, I don't even want to think about it. I don't want to think
Yeah.
about it. It's funny because the record store I go to, he occasionally gives me. He'll have me come down and he gives me boxes of CDs and I bring them to the radio station, and I go through them first, see what I want. And I gave some to my daughter, and then the guys at the radio station, they all pick through them. It goes through levels. But the last load I had 2 weeks ago, I actually broke it into 2 smaller boxes, so it was easier to carry. Those things get heavy. Then I'm looking in my closet at my CD wall, and it's from the ceiling to the floor, and that's filled, and it's like 3 foot wide. Those are all filled, and now I have an overage of another 200 CDs. So knowing what those boxes weigh that I moved, I'm looking at my stuff that I'm keeping. I'm like, those things are going to weigh a ton. And I'm looking at my wall of albums. I'm like, those alone are going to weigh another 1,000 pounds. It's like, holy, just for that stuff, and that stuff you don't even think about. I'm like,
Yeah.
So the big drill press, that might stay. See, if my friend's son buys the place, I have no problem giving him the stuff. I'd rather have him have it. It's like, I'll buy a bench top drill press, I guess. Again, downsize. I'm getting older. How much, like my wife says, how much longer do you think you're going to be doing this stuff? I'm like, good question. I don't like the question, but it's a good question.
Yeah, I know.
It's a good way to purge.
You're gonna have to when you call down there to the county for the information board, you're gonna have to find out if they got a good record store.
Actually, the funny thing is, I've been following this guy on YouTube, and he has, it's a record store, and he does a lot of audio gear too, because that's how I found him, from Repair. And he actually, and I said to myself, wow, it looks like a cool store. And he said you can visit one of our 2 locations. One is in Charlotte and one is in Raleigh. I'm like, holy shit, that's perfect.
Yeah.
There's another guy I found who's in Virginia. It looks like a big flea market type of a store, but he has a spot, like a permanent spot. He sells a lot of audio gear, and he's by the beach. I know that they're near the water. I want to check out. I've got to find that guy's place. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see his location.
Well, with that, you might be able to go visit Dan. Go
Right.
visit his
He's
shop.
probably not far from there. Right. Right. So I called this guy today, Brian. Merrick Tools. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
Mm-hmm.
He sells these flip sockets, but they're sized. They kind of like bite. It's kind of like what they do with the half size over for like the Ford or the Dodge pickups when the lugs swell. But he was telling me he makes all of this stuff out of machine grade steel, and they use sintered metal injection molding. I said to him, yeah, I did plastic injection molding. He's doing metal injection molding. So I asked, and he says he's getting all the contracts from the Navy and the Army. They're getting proprietary contracts from the military because they tell them your stuff does not wear out. It doesn't break. It just lasts. So I talked to him about a year ago. I called him again today. And I said, look, I'd like to get you on the radio. Hey, no, you don't want to talk to me. I want to talk to my son, Jake Jr. So he gave me his son's number. I called him, left a message. He didn't, he was driving home. He didn't get back to me yet. So
you trying to get him on for this weekend?
I was hoping to get him on for Sunday. Yeah, but that may not happen now. I don't know. Cool stuff. It's cool tools. They don't have a big line, but he's looking to expand the line, and he's getting military contracts, so that's good. That's money in the back.
Yeah.
And and they're in Oklahoma, so the guy's got that Oklahoma accent. Sounds like he's a farmer, but he's doing some really precision stuff with these sockets. So, yeah, cool stuff.
Well, we need more. I tell you. We definitely need more because some of the, I'm tired of getting beat up, not getting stuff. Your standard, like I have some, and I told the guy, one of my distributors, went on the horn today, on our page and said, hey, I got a guy waiting for a 21 millimeter socket.
Really?
And it's been pushed back. It's been pushed back until, I think it's April now. I've been pushed back to April before we can get them. And this all started. We were supposed to get a whole bunch of stuff in December.
That's ridiculous. Talking about a socket, And
I know we're talking about a 1/2-inch drive, 21 millimeter socket, and it's just unbelievable on certain things. And some guys are like, "Well, that's the way the world is now." Oh well, and then those guys are like, "Dude, I need this to make a living."
Right.
And that's why I have destroyed. If I took a picture of my inventory, like socket, like even I'll send you the picture. The sockets that I have completed, sets are so far and few between that I have multiple sets of sockets where I've had to take a 10 or a 12 or 18 or whatever out of that I've been waiting for months. I can't sell. So when somebody goes, hey, I need a socket set, dude, I don't even have a set of sockets to sell.
You can't sell them set. Yeah.
And but then I have a guy comes up and says, I got a broken socket. And I'm like, all right, I can't help you. And he's like, well, dude, what am I supposed to wait? And I'm like, yeah, well, you have one here. And I said, well, if I break a set, I can't sell it to a guy.
Right.
I got wrenches. And we're not just talking, I got $500 wrench sets, and I've got 8 or 9 of them that I can't sell because it's missing a 10, a 14, a 17. So when you got 7 of those at $500, that's a lot of money.
So let me ask you this. Would you typically buy like just a handful of 10s and 15s or whatever just to have on the truck, singular wrenches and sockets?
Yeah, usually like I have usually I have I thought I had one down here. But it's very similar to like my plastic case for my cars.
Right.
And I have, 10 millimeter, 8 millimeter. I have the individual sockets and I'll have 3 or 4 in there.
Yeah.
and Torx bits, 30 or whatever Torx bits. Instead of breaking, a lot of times the guys get themselves in trouble because they break a setup. And if you don't reorder it, then like I said, you have a guy come out and say, "Hey, I want to buy a set of wrenches." Well, shit.
Then you get the guys. I understand how stupid it is, but it actually happened to me. Early on, I had when I was bringing tools to the shop, and I had, I didn't want to bring my core tools, so I had my American wrenches and my metric wrenches, and I also had a set of line wrenches for each. And I had a spare set of American line wrenches, but I was missing the 9/16ths. And I bought a second set of metric line wrenches. Now I got 2 of those. And I told the Snap-on, I said, "Listen, I just need the 9/16ths, line wrench." He goes, "Oh yeah, I got one," and he gave it to me. I was like, "Oh," he's like, "What's the matter? Did I give you the wrong?" Like, no, it's a 9/16ths. I said, "But this doesn't match the set." It's like I caught myself. It's like, yeah, mine are older. I have the older version, and this is the newer wrench. And I swear to God, I know it doesn't make a damn bit of difference, but every time I open a drawer, that one new wrench it's like there's a light on it. It's like,
it fires off your OCD.
You're the new guy, right? You're the new guy, man. What are you doing?
Well, that's the problem. It's like today, I had a guy. He came out and he had lost a 14 millimeter impact, and it was a Mako, Mako USA socket.
Yeah.
And I said, "I don't have one." I said, "To be honest."
And you ain't getting one like that again, buddy.
I said, "I don't even know when I want to see the USA stuff. The USA stuff is so far." I said, "But I have an ADV, and that's, lifetime still on the 14. But the difference is it's a hair taller than the Mako one."
Oh, wow.
And, he's like, he took it and came back out and he said, I can't, this doesn't. And I was like, "Well, what's wrong?" And he goes, "It's like," and I said, "What, a hair taller?" He goes, "Yeah. It's like the wrong shade color black." It's like, and I'm like, "Dude, seriously." I said, "Dude."
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, "I don't want," I said, "Fine." I said, "I'm telling you right now, I don't want to hear you bitch when 2, 3, 4 weeks go by and you don't have a 14.
Right.
So,
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
So before 2020, before all the craziness, were you having trouble getting stuff ordered in like you are now? It like in 2020 when everything happened, that's where the shit show started, right?
20, yeah, well,
Mid 2020,
2019, 2020, yeah.
I mean, there's so much that's wrecked. I mean, and then it's our chickens aren't producing because they caught a cold, and but it's everywhere. And then this morning, when my wife was getting ready for work and she was leaving, they were talking on the Today Show about, well, you can't work from home no more. Companies want you to come back, and they were almost talking like not quite offended, but shocked, like in between that. Going into work is normal for everybody, and shocked, like just right in between that. I'm like listening to this, going, "What's wrong with you?"
I heard on the radio this morning they were saying that now Google laid off, a ton of people, and so did Amazon, a lot of people, and they said the Gen Zers are now demanding that their jobs are secure. I was like, wow, really? And now they want like workplace. They want like counseling. They want counseling put in place for like the stress of the possibility of a layoff. It's like, really?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's funny too, because just today in soccer, I had this conversation at practice, and there were some kids that have been missing here and there. And I'm like, "Guys, we can't win a game. You can't." We just lost the game on Monday, and I'm like, it's a game we had no business losing, but we are missing people. And I said, and this is your team. This is up to you. You know, you guys move on. I'll still be here coaching. I said, but this is up to you. I said, but more so, guys, I said, what you're going to learn in sports here, at least with me, but I think all the coaches around here, I said, what you're going to learn in sports is when you get knocked down to get back up. When you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. It sucks. It may not be a good thing, but you fix it. You move forward. You learn from it and you fix it. And I said, guys, this will help you at the next level. This will help you at the high school. You know, you want to continue to play sports, but even if you don't want to continue to play sports, it'll help you in life. I said, because life, when it comes, I said, you got about 4 more years left after this year. And I said, it's going to go by fast. And I said, life is going to kick you in the nuts. And when you're down, it's going to kick you again and kick you 10 times harder. I said, you got to learn to take it, learn back up, and learn to move forward. I said, the world does not, I said, the ugly truth is the world does not care about you. It cares if you produce and if you're useful.
You got to tell the guys, he said, and then you're going to get married and you're going to have a wife. And she's going to keep your balls in her pocketbook. And you'll be lucky if she lets you have them on a weekend, maybe. And even then, you're going to get grilled when you come home. So cut the shit. You know, man up. Oh, God.
Unfortunately, one of the kids we were practicing, we were doing a mini scrimmage, offense against defense. And unfortunately, one of my defenders, he stepped forward to block a ball and he blocked it in the wrong place.
Oh,
and I said, hey, it's okay. I said, because we had a conversation about arnica for their bumps and bruises. I said, you put some arnica on that, it'll heal.
Yeah,
I said, and if that don't work, I said, you head over to Walmart. They'll get you with a new set. Walmart has everything.
They'll give you an ice pack. Well, I'll tell you, I got an appointment on Monday with a hand doctor. I'm going to have him look at like the arthritis in my thumb and then whatever the hell's going on. I think this finger is a nerve. And I'm going to bring the article with me. I'm going to show, because I figure he's going to want to know, like, what are you using? I was going to like this. He's going to say, where the hell do you get that? I'll tell him Isaac. You should know.
Yeah.
Dr. Isaac prescribed it.
Well, kids.
I have my phone on me in case I get a call.
Yeah. Time to put out the candle.
The ground is so wet. The ground is so wet here that I tried to turn when I went to turn the tool truck around today, it almost got stuck in the front yard.
You better be careful.
So I got to go do that now before I forget. So that it's because tomorrow morning I won't be able to because of the traffic, but I need to go turn it around.
You got to get super swampers on it.
Right. Monster mutters.
Yeah.
What I really want to do, and it's one of those things with everything else in the world that I need to do and get to, because I have one of the things I read, or cheap way of doing that, is you dig it up and you drop cinder blocks in the ground. And then you fill the cinder blocks. You put the dirt back over top the cinder blocks, put the grass seed down, and the grass will grow, but you have the base of the cinder blocks so that the ground doesn't get all swampy. And that way you can turn around and it won't, you like I said, you dig it up, put a sand base down, you put your cinder blocks down, and then put the dirt on top of it, and then put the grass, and the grass will grow over top. And then that way, that area where you want to turn around, or the ground won't be soft from the rain or whatever.
That's pretty cool.
And that way you don't have a concrete pad there, or you don't have you have the green. You have the
concrete reinforced sod. Grass.
So I have, like I said, I have I don't know how many cinder blocks, but I have most of the stuff. I just, it's like one of those things to add to the list of.
I just got to dig it. You got to dig down. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
The little bobcat.
I got a couple buddies. I keep saying, come by here with your bobcat and do 2 scoops. And
right.
And then, if you do the 2 scoops, I could, the rest of it's easy after that. It's the digging it all up
Right.
And then, and of course it's like climbing the hill, that's all the work. Throwing the dirt on the ground back over, it's nothing,
Yeah.
But
oh, before I forget, the other thing I want to mention, the other test I watched that guy do today was he did LED lights.
Oh yeah.
And he didn't do any of the tool truck lights. He did do a Milwaukee light that was very, very durable and strong. It took a 20-foot drop.
Wow.
I mean, it opened up, but he put it back together and it worked. He did the Harbor Freight light that everybody uses, and the one that I think came out overall that I've had my eye on for a while has been the is it the Astro? Yeah, it's a blue light. I think that's Astro. It came out pretty durable. It's kind of cool because he does this random stuff. He'll just do stuff that everybody uses, and he was doing a drop test from like 3 feet, 5 feet, 10 feet, and then just at the point of failure, really.
Yeah.
He took the batteries out and he showed the battery and what type of cells they were, and he does a chart with all the wattage and all that. It's pretty cool. So, all right, Isaac, you're gonna take us out. What are we gonna tell everybody who's waiting for me to take when I take the garbage out tonight?
Yes, sir. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and pretty much most of social media. You can follow us on social media, but do not follow us home. Ray can get the trash out by himself.
Right.
Yeah, Ray doesn't need any help.
Don't follow the hot dog truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. All right, guys. Well, have a good week, Brian. Hopefully you don't get stuck in the mud tomorrow.
Yeah, I hope not.
So for Lewis Lee, Playing in Traffic tonight was another good night with Tyler Longshot, of course, Matco Man Brian, Coach Isaac. We had Justin from American Gas and Hot Rod Shop in with us, and Paul for a little bit. Actually, Paul talked to me, so he must have taken his meds because he actually was nice to me, so that's good. So it was a good night. So,
all right, guys, you all be safe. Watch out.